and ask me to run by anybody. That's not what I did. You know what I did? I got my butt in the slot. I used my quicks, and I sat down in space. And I had an offensive coordinator in Holmgren who understood that about me and allowed me to do that. So first, don't ask your bigs to do things that you know that they're just not good at. The offense can help, but there has to be some true development. That's why I like the hires that the Hawks have made on offense so far when it comes to the run game coordinator and the run game specialist. There's a commitment to making sure these guys develop. Now, Laumea has to develop. Haynes has to develop. Oluwatimi has to get better. There are some things that the players have to take responsibility for, and because they're young, I'm optimistic about that. But you do need some help. Go get yourself another veteran and then hit when it comes to this draft and get yourself an offensive lineman.
What do you think your 40 time is now?
40? Man, I'm probably like a cool 4.8 maybe.
I think you could still outrun Jake Bobo.
I still might get Bobo.
I think you can still get Bobo. Okay, let's go to some sound quickly and talk about how this actually gets done. This was John Schneider from February talking about the offensive line and the approaches that he may or may not take with it.
You can't just throw money at something to fix it or to fix a perceived need. You know, that's we've made mistakes there in the past, and you know, we're not going to repeat. You know, we're going to try not to repeat the mistakes we've made.
You can't just throw money at a perceived need. I know. As you know, there are some fans that are going, then what are you going to do?
Right.
Then why did you trade Geno and trade DK and save so much money if you weren't going to throw money at the problem? But then what approach do you take?
I think you throw money. He's just not trying to throw a bunch of stacks out there, you know? John Schneider seems like he's a bit frugal when it comes to spending on offensive linemen. And you and I know that because we hear him talk about what he's willing to do and what he's not willing to do when it comes to paying for offensive linemen. This is where your scouts come in handy. This is where you got to find those diamonds in the rough. You have to watch the film. A guy like Josh Jones, who's only played in, I believe, 46 snaps last year. His most snaps in one game was 16, I believe, against Houston, the second to last game of the season. You got to watch those 16 snaps and feel like there's something there. Or in a different situation, you got to watch the 50 snaps from this guy and feel like there's something there. Evaluation is tough. And you and I have been talking about the scouts upstairs. This is where they get paid. Schneider's going to lead the charge with McDonald and AD and Kubiak over there. Evaluation is everything. Find the right guy for the low, because he ain't going to just throw money at it. Find him for the low, and then develop him and hope it works out.
Now, this is also hugely important, as you've already mentioned, because of who's offensive coordinator and who's quarterback now. Two different names than you saw in 2024. I think Geno Smith was great under pressure. And I don't think Ryan Grubb was especially focused on running the ball. It's not really who he was at his core. That's not the case for Sam Darnold, who is maybe not as great under pressure, but has a bigger arm, has some different strengths. And then Kubiak, who is going to run the ball a little bit more. You need to build out the offensive line for that. But tell me about how maybe the shift in focus is going to be with Darnold here under Kubiak.
Well, when we watched Geno play last year, there was a lot of operation out of shotgun. And when you want to be a run-first team, shotgun is not the formation for it. You have to be able to get in the shotgun because you're going to get in long passing downs, 3rd and 8, 39 or whatnot. But you get under center and you influence the defense. When the quarterback has his back to the defense and he's showing that play fake, they have to respect everything he's doing. So I think that's going to be vital for Sam Darnold. He did that in Minnesota. He was one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the game, but he also did a great job of selling the play fake, whipping that head around, and making some plays. How else is Sam Darnold going to ball? You got to go get another receiver. JSN is a #1 guy. I love him. I think he can handle that pressure, but he needs the Robin. He is Batman now. I don't know who was Batman or Robin last year because they took turns of him and DK, but now he is Batman. So you got to find a way to take some pressure off him. How do you do that? Play action, running the football, getting the defense to respond to everything you're doing, finding JSN a partner in crime. It could be a veteran. There's some vets out there who are free agents. It could be someone in the draft, and we've talked about the draft, and people have mentioned that it's not very deep. I think it's not very top-heavy. But after that, you can find some guys. Need somebody to stretch the field. Trey Harris is my pick out of Ole Miss. Love that dude.
What about Matthew Golden?
I love Matthew Golden,
Different
too.
profile?
Yeah. I love
Maybe not a
Trey Harris,
first-rounder.
he's just a bigger type of receiver, and I think that's what you need. Golden is about 5'11", $190. Nothing against the 5'11s. I'm here
Shout
for
out
it
our
all day. But you need an opposite kind of receiver. You don't want two of the same receivers out there. You can be successful doing that, but I think for this offense, get a big boy outside, go get it.
All right, we've talked about the offensive line enough, and I think that both you and I are in agreement that the #1 thing Schneider needs to do to make it pay off is fix the offensive line.
Yep.
You don't get the run game going. You can't make the most of Sam Darnold. You can't make the most of Kubiak's offense unless you get that. If we were to choose 1B, in terms of the most important thing Schneider must do to make his gamble pay off. And it is a gamble. Trading away a quarterback you knew you could win with. He won 10 games last year. Trading away a wide receiver that's been one of the most productive receivers you've drafted. That's a gamble. What's another thing he must do to make it pay off?
Well, I talked about the receivers, so I'll push that to the side. And big ups to the 425 mentioning Nick Nash out of San Jose State. Loved watching that young man play. Was a quarterback to start. You got to get some tight ends in this thing. We talk about being able to run the football. When you have two receiver sets, two tight end sets out there, and you're able to set that edge and influence the defense, even better. The tight ends are probably one of the most underappreciated guys on a football field. Unless you're like a George Kittle or a Travis Kelce, everyone else, or Brock Bowers now, everyone else kind of gets pushed to the side and you don't expect much out of them.
You got to date Taylor Swift to get that kind of attention.
You got to Taylor Swift. You got to date a billionaire to be mentioned. But it's the tight end spot. Get yourself, you have A.J. Barner, you have Noah Fant, but I think you need one or two more guys just to be physical in the trenches. They influence the run. There are keys. Linebackers will look at the tight ends. Safeties will look at the tight ends sometimes as their key. If they're down blocking, they're flying downhill. So now you down blocking your release. And we know with this Kubiak offense, you're going to see a lot of that. Go watch the Saints film. Even if they're getting smacked by 30, just watch what the scheme is and how the tight ends are being used. They also motion into the backfield, can be used as a fullback. Something else you and I have been talking about. Maybe you need a fullback back there. But the tight ends, man, you got to get them going.
There's a fullback who might be available. We're going to talk about it in headline rewrites in about 30 seconds. Last one, let's go to some listener questions. I'm going to go to this one. We talked about all the pressure that John is facing. Someone said, so Bump and Stacy, if the Seahawks don't make the playoffs, is John out of a job? Now, first of all, let's not jump the gun to the Seahawks not making the playoffs. But secondly, I don't think that's the point of this season, which is weird. John absolutely wants to make the playoffs, but I think the point, Bump, is to get right, to build up your foundation. You were missing foundational pieces.
There's a way that the Hawks don't make the playoffs, but you see what they're doing and where they're going. I don't want to put that on them. I'm going to expect them to make the playoffs. I'm looking at the division. Things feel like they're starting to open up a little bit. The Rams are good. Niners are dealing with their stuff. AZ has picked up a couple guys as well. But there's a way for them to get through this season and just look really competitive, to go through your ups and downs and let Kubiak figure out this offense. Let Sam Darnold start to settle in and flourish a bit. And listen, I know fans don't want to hear that, but that's the reality of the situation. It's almost like they almost exceeded expectations last year. Most people had about 9 or 8 wins, and then you have an opportunity to get into the playoffs and you fall short a couple games before that last game. I think because of that, people are now looking at this season and saying they must make the playoffs. That is the goal. Win a division, make the playoffs. But there is a situation where you're looking at this team play some good football, and you kind of see where they're going. So that's my consolation prize, right? If they don't make the playoffs, let me see your vision and understand where you're going.
Well, and speaking of letting me see your vision, let me see your identity.
Yeah.
I think that was also missing last year, and maybe it's because it was a brand new head coach trying to, get his bearings, and we're figuring out, okay, you want to be a defensive team again, and thankfully they didn't prove there, so that was part of their identity, it felt, by the end of the season, but I don't know who you are as an offense. I mean, Geno Smith can, throw the rock. DK Metcalf, really physical. Obviously, fan favorite Tyler Lockett. You were like a pass-heavy offense that didn't want to be pass heavy.
That's who they were. They were confused.
Yeah, and so I think that the one win for me for this season and how I'm going to feel good at the end of the season, whatever their win total is, I know who this team is. And it feels like they can be like that team in 26, and it feels like they can be like that in 27, and that it's going to be an upward trajectory. I want to see an identity that makes sense and feels whole.
Well, we know what they want to be. They got rid of Grubb for a reason. Kubiak's here for a reason. Let's see if it all matches up.
All right, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, Mitch Garver left Monday's Mariners game after taking a pitch off of his hand. What's the real headline?
What does it say about the Mariners offense when a potential absence of a 172 hitter is causing panic?
Hey, 172 last year.
Oh,
you ready
my
for
bad.
some spring training?
Garver
Okay.
Hit me with those Cactus League numbers.
Okay, Cactus League. My boy is 4-4-4 at the plate.
Woo!
He got 3 of them bombs.
What?
6 RBIs, 1,400 OPS. Means nothing.
Mitch Ted Williams Garver?
Means nothing. But, it's unfortunate. You hate to see it, but you knew the Mariners were the type of team that needed some luck. So far, they have been unlucky.
Genuinely hope Mitch is okay.
Yeah.
Originally brought here to add some pop to the lineup, and We had been having conversations about second chances for a couple of these names. Mitch Haniger now in his, not technically second year ever with Seattle, but second season back. Garver in his second season, Polanco in his second season. And Garver was one of the names where we thought you could see something there. You could see improvement. So hopefully he's okay.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, the 49ers are cutting 9-time Pro Bowl fullback Kyle Juszczyk. What's the real headline?
I can think of a team that needs a fullback.
I could too. 9 years in the game, my guy's been an influential type of player, can do a little bit of everything. He lines up at tight end. He lines up at the fullback spot, releases into the flat and down the sideline. But doesn't it feel like that's such a Seattle move is to grab somebody else's, I wouldn't call him trash because he's been in the league and he's a Pro Bowler, but someone else's leftovers and say, all right, let's run it back over here. I would not be mad if they did that, but that is such a Seattle move.
You don't want to thrift shop a fullback?
I'm like, go get you a young blood. Go get you a little 24-year-old who's old school, snot bubbles, neck roll, all that good stuff. I wouldn't be mad at it, but I'd prefer to go a different route.
I have a question. What happened to the fullback?
The
Where'd
game
they go?
opened up.
It's like the last unicorn. There's like 4 of them.
The dodo bird.
The dodo bird.
dodo
They were
bird.
too friendly. That's what happened to the
Yeah.
dodo bird. They
They're
were
too
too friendly.
Fullbacks are not friendly. They run with a lot of anger.
Well, maybe
in their
that's why
heart.
there are no fullbacks anymore. They need to
They
be
weren't
less
friendly enough, yeah.
Well, really though, like
No,
how did
it's-
offenses evolve where we just didn't use them
The
nearly as
college
much?
game came to the NFL. Shotgun, spread it out, 3-by-1, empty backfields. It's just that's what happens. And then it's crazy though, because those teams who have those empty backfields, you get inside the 5, you're like, what do we do? Let's get a lineman and pull him out here, make him eligible. Let's get a defensive lineman, put him at fullback.
Get Byron Murphy out there.
Yeah, tight ends, they can be fullbacks, you know? So I think we're going to start seeing it come back because you see teams like Philly be able to run the ball, Baltimore. There are teams, Vikings last year, Niners, who have fullbacks. It's just a style that's going on. But, you know, it's like big jeans now. Everyone's wearing big jeans.
Yeah, you guys
know?
always make fun of me for wearing clothes that are way too big for
Everyone
me.
was big jeans,
They're
you know?
cool now.
They came back. So big
Yeah.
jeans are like the fullback.
Okay, I have a second quick follow-up. Why does Kubiak in particular want a fullback?
Just for the zone, the lead zone type of stuff. You can also use them to set the edge, your split zone. So when you're going to the right side, you bring that fullback to the left, take care of the end, allow your offensive linemen to really flow and get to that second level. It's all deception.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, Yankees ace Garrett Cole will miss the 2025 season with Tommy John surgery. What's the real headline?
Imagine this same thing happening to the Mariners. Pause. And that's why you need to spend.
That's a nightmare over there for the Yankees.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare. And that's why I'm not mad at Kirby or the Mariners taking their time with Kirby. We're probably not going to see him for a couple of weeks into the season. But hopefully this is kind of like a warning shot to the Mariners. Like, look, this could happen. You have to be dang near perfect and the most lucky team in the world to have your young 5 stay healthy in that rotation and to get production. Mitch Garver just went out with his hand. We're seeing what the MRI looks like. It's just so much has to happen for teams. You just can't be good. You have to be lucky, and the Yankees are going to feel that.
Bump Your Dodgers are once again going to be the favorites in the National League. I know the Mets are also really exciting. Curtis, you felt that the Yankees dealing with this injury, even though they're still incredibly talented and very deep, maybe opened up that AL pennant chase.
Yeah, especially in the American League East. The Orioles are going to be very competitive again. I think the Red Sox are an improving team in that division. And then the Central has some good teams with Cleveland and Kansas City. The West, no one knows who's going to win that division this season. I think talent-wise, the Mariners are up there, but the Astros still have some talent around. The A's are an improving team. The Rangers could probably get hot and win the division. So it's anybody's league right now in the AL, and an injury like this just gives everybody an even playing ground to start the season.
You know, we've spent so much of our morning talking about how John Schneider needs to be right and make sure this gamble pays off. Jared Dipoto and Justin Hollander made a gamble as well by not spending, by choosing to approach free agency however they did. We don't know the trades they declined or whatever they decided, but like one gamble would be we don't want to trade a single starter. We're not trading a starter. That's not what we're going to do. Another gamble the Mariners made as an organization is not to spend recklessly, not to spend more than they were comfortable with or do any kind of, in their mind, risky spending. The bet they're making on themselves needs to pay off, and frankly, hearing that the AL West is wide open, knowing that it's wide open, knowing the AL might be more open, it just makes you think, oh, come on. There's no giant in your way.
Is this the motto of Seattle sports, don't throw money at a perceived problem. And we're gonna develop our guys and see what happens. It feels like the Mariners and the Seahawks are kind of operating in the same realm when it comes to offensive linemen and some bats. So let's switch that up. I don't know if I'm feeling that.
Good question. How about a more positive spin? The model right now for Seattle sports is bet on yourself. The Mariners are betting that they're right.
That is so positive, Stacy, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
All right. What was Schneider thinking about this offense, maybe realizing about this team when he pulled the trigger on a trade of Geno Smith? One NFL analyst has an idea, and he thinks John made the right move. That's next.
Breaking news.
The Seahawks have their quarterback. ESPN's Adam Schefter says former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold reached an agreement today on a 3-year, $100.5 million contract with Seattle. Bump, your immediate reaction.
Let's get it. Got our quarterback, man. You know, a quarterback who fits this offense and what we think this offense is going to be. This was priority number one, was to get Sam Darnold.
Stay with Seattle Sports for updates and analysis. Read more at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports app.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hello. Welcome to Lee Johnson Auto Family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto Family, and it's not just a name. It's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close, and they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found at G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
Looking for the perfect engagement ring? At Shane Company, we know this is an exciting time. It can also be overwhelming. Customers say this a lot. Where do I start? How do I choose? At Shane Company, this is where the magic happens. Since 1929, we've been experts at helping customers find the perfect engagement ring. We invite you into the design process, help you pick out the perfect diamond or colorful gemstone, and choose a style that speaks to you. Come see us in store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Our local tax expert Greg Nunn wants taxpayers to know the IRS is now going after older cases very aggressively. If you received Form CP-504 from the IRS, do not ignore it. Be proactive and resolve your situation with Greg Nunn, N-U-N-N, None Better Tax Resolution.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-859-6688. 800-859-6688. 800-859-6688. The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Do you need a new roof? Don't wait for summer to replace it. 3 Tree Roofing is here to help you save big this winter. Avoid summer's higher prices and longer wait times and protect your home's integrity now. Visit 3treeroofing.com for your free on-site estimate. Our certified installers make it easy and worry-free, no matter the season. Don't wait. Book your estimate today at 3treeroofing.com. Mention this ad and get $500 off your roof replacement. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast, local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Pay no interest for 2 full years. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a free estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, don't neglect maintenance on your vehicle. Keep it safe. At Bucky's Complete Auto, we have you covered with available financing. For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. There's a Bucky's just about everywhere for oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Bucky's.com for the location near you.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chunky chunkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
One NFL analyst thinks John Schneider made the right move. Let's go ahead and jump in. Todd McShay was on Brock and Salk this morning. Let's start with what he thinks John Schneider realized about this team.
I think John realized the positions we need, there's a lot of depth in rounds 2 and 3. Wide receiver, guard, tackle, and then a couple other spots. But I truly believe you take the best player at 18, and hopefully it fills a void. But with those 4 picks in round, 50, 52, yep, 82, and 92?
Something like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those are 4 really important picks for Seattle, but they're also in areas of the draft where I feel like you're getting better quality than in most years.
He thinks John realized there's a lot of depth at positions they need on day 2. And now they have 2 more day 2 picks, 5 in the first 92. What do you think John Schneider realized about this team?
No, I would agree. And I like the approach of just get the best player available at 18. The best player to you. Like the best player to me might be someone else. The best player to you might be someone else. But to John Schneider and the organization, at 18, you don't mess around. You just go and get it. Now, you get into 50 and 52, that's where you start to fill voids and you get needs out there. And everything that we're hearing is that you can find yourself a guard or a center in those later rounds. There's no need to force it at 18. And they have forced it before with early picks. I'm not going to throw no names out there because I respect the dudes. They play in the NFL. But you guys listening, if you watch the Hawks for the last 5 to 8 years, you can tell where they kind of force some picks. So I like that approach. 18, get the best player out there. Later on in the draft is where you can pick up a guard and a center.
What if the best player out there is on defense, maybe a defensive lineman? Here's Todd McShay.
I look at the interior defensive line. It is loaded with a lot of players. Like we start with Mason Graham from Michigan, right? Kenneth Grant, to me, is the second best defensive tackle. He's a teammate of Graham's at Michigan. After that, I think that we're going to have a little, because everyone's going to be like, wait, everyone was pumping this interior defensive line group up. It's supposed to be one of the best we've ever seen. But it could be until the second round when they start really coming off the board. And that's where I think like Derek Harmon, late first from Oregon, Darius Alexander, late first, early second from Toledo, Walter Nolan, Ole Miss, TJ Sanders, from South Carolina, Shamar Turner from A&M, Alfred Collins from Texas, Omar Norman Lott from Tennessee. Like, there's a lot of guys in that second, third round range that I think are plug and play, either starters or kind of in a rotation early in their career.
So because of the depth at defensive line in this draft, you can still get a really good guy if you want to use one of your extra day 2 picks. However, if you go D-line at 18, you can also find some elite talent that probably slipped to 18 because it's such a deep class. We've talked about the potential of taking a safety there, the potential of, looking at another defensive spot. What do you make of a team that might go defense at 18 despite their biggest need being on offense?
If you're going defensive line, you're getting guys in that rotation. Where Robinson Harris is with the New York Giants now, I believe. I don't think Hankins has signed a deal yet. You still got to wait and see what happens with him. But with that D-line, that is the most rotation you get in a football game is at the defensive line spot. Your backers stay in there. Your safeties rotate a little bit, whether you're going 2 safeties or 3. Your corners are essentially there. Offensive line stays in. Maybe some running back rotation. Receivers are sprinkled in. But the more young bodies you have at the defensive line spot, the better. You signed Jay Reed to an extension. You got Leo over there as well. You factor in your edge rushers. Achena's trying to get restructured. I'm not mad at that move. Depth is crucial at that defensive line spot. And then when you talk about defensive linemen, out of all the positions, D-line and running backs, the most natural football positions out there, in my opinion, these guys can play right now. When you're talking quarterbacks and O-linemen and receivers are trying to get there as well, there's some hesitancy. There's guys who can play early and right now, but for the most part, running backs and D linemen can play right now. So I'm not mad at that move.
Todd McShay talked about the more bites at the apple philosophy to drafting and said that Schneider does value having a lot of picks.
Throughout his entire tenure in Seattle, only 1 year has he had fewer than 8 draft picks. That's his background, if you will. And so I look at this, and it's not because I'm sure you guys hear it. I'm sure people in Seattle are like, we're tearing this thing down. We're completely rebuilding. I don't look at it this way. I think it's smart roster management. I think it's looking for opportunity to build for the future. You just went from 34 years old to 27 at quarterback. You got rid of a quarterback who's outstanding, but you did so bringing in a quarterback who last year played to that kind of level, and the hope is he'll continue to play to that level and be able to finish the season better than he did this year. But by reducing 7 years on that quarterback, you now have a little bit of time to build this the right way. And they also, the most important thing is, in those drafts I talked about, the first 3 years as the GM, he drafted 8 Pro Bowlers with all those draft picks.
I thought it was an interesting take from Todd. He covered a lot there. What did you make of it?
So when I was in college, we used to have to drive to Idaho sometimes and fly out of Lewiston when I played for Wazoo. The worst part about flying out of Lewiston is you knew it was a short runway and there's a cliff down at the bottom of that thing.
What?
We knew it. We're going into this thing, but like the weight better be right because this is a short runway. That was the runway they had with Geno, just because he's 34. With Sam Darnold, we at SeaTac now, right? It's a bit longer, right? There's room for error or whatnot.
We have an amazing international airport.
Amazing international airport. Have you and the biggest parking lot in all the land, which Curtis, is familiar with.
Same size as MetLife Stadium. I found our car.
You found our car. How long did it take you?
It took me about a 20-minute walk from the light rail station to finding it.
Yeah.
My wife and girls, they went out of town this last weekend, left the car at the SeaTac parking lot. And
biggest
it was up to me.
lot.
Yeah, biggest parking lot in the United States of America. That's not a joke either. That's real.
I claim it.
It was up to me to find our 2014 Chevy Traverse, and I found it.
Oh, we're proud of you, Curtis.
There you go. So the runway is just longer, and that's what I'm hearing with a 27-year-old Sam Darnold. Nothing's guaranteed. You don't know if it's going to work out or not, but you look at Sam Darnold, this offense, and the pieces they can add.
Yeah.
What I do love, 10 picks in this draft. 10 picks in this draft. That means you got some wiggle room. You're not going to hit on all of them. I know people are going to get frustrated. Listen, you're listening right now. You will be frustrated with a pick or two. Most definitely, and you're entitled to that. But when you have 10 shots at this thing, the chances of you hitting are a lot more. I've seen him turn 4 into 7. I've seen him turn 6 into 9. Like, this is what John Schneider does. So I think when it comes to these picks, we got to sit back and kind of trust the process and see what he does.
Yeah, I had a listener text in to us yesterday who said, you guys keep talking about, 5 picks in the first 100, but they only have one in the top 45 because they have 1 in 50. 18 and 50 are their first 2 picks. And I was like, it's totally fair. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about this draft and being very excited about the capital, but you're right. They don't have 2 firsts in 3 seconds. That would be an insane amount of draft capital.
Sure would.
But they do have more than they did. And they do have a lot to work with. And while you have a greater likelihood of finding starting talent, of finding Pro Bowlers, of finding all pros in the first round, and that typically declines round after round, it's not a coincidence. The good players typically are going to get picked up earlier, and you do have outliers. You do have guys that become Hall of Famers from later rounds or that are undrafted. We all know those stories. I can acknowledge that and still say, this team needs a lot, though. Like, I'm okay with them drafting a 5th-round safety that ends up being a really solid special teamer that can make a difference in a game this year. Like, sometimes it's actually great to have that guy.
Yeah, I mean, the later-round picks they're not the foundation of your team, but they just play a huge role. The foundation are the guys that you're paying $20 million or whatnot to go out there and perform, and expectations are higher. But this is where your team is really built. There are only so many household names on a team or regional names on a team. Other than that, you need some guys to do the dirty work. And those are the guys who develop. Those are the guys who emerge 2 or 3 years into their career. I look at DJ Reed as a perfect example of that, right? He just got paid, I believe. I forgot where he went, but he was on the practice squad with the Niners. The Hawks pick him up, has a couple good years here, goes off to the Jets and makes some money, and now he's considered one of the best corners in the game. It happens. It doesn't happen at a higher clip, but we also know that, too, that after that first round, they all start to blend in talent-wise, right? There's only 200 and something picks in the draft, and the gap between number 1 and 2-something is huge. Yeah. But you shrink that down to number 60-something and 2-something, it's a bit different. And
speaking of, I know that I mentioned they're outliers, but every single one of us can think of really impactful players who were not in the first round. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Geno Smith, the 3 players we saw gone this week. Richard Sherman, KJ Wright,
Dougie Fresh,
Cam Chancellor, Doug Baldwin not even drafted, right? Jermaine Kearse not drafted. I know I'm listing Super Bowl players, but what about Chris
Household
Carson?
names.
Yeah, Chris Carson was a 7th rounder. 1,000,005 people always tell me about Brock Purdy when I would talk about, like, do you consider paying Geno? They'd be like, well, they found Brock Purdy with the last pick. Now, that is a massive outlier. I will say that. Do not count on finding a franchise quarterback with the final pick of the draft. However, you can find impactful players and sometimes really special players late. It's why John Schneider wants so many bites at that apple. All right, what can Sam Darnold do that Geno Smith cannot? We haven't really taken this angle before, but Bump spent some time comparing and contrasting Seattle's old quarterback with their newest one, and he's got your takeaways next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
It's happened. Geno has been traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a 3rd-round pick in the upcoming 2025 draft, on his way to Vegas to be reunited with his former head coach, Pete Carroll.
Wow. I did not see this coming.
No.
And
you're shocked.
I am. I just thought that this was a given.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
The smart way to improve home comfort is a new heat pump. New heat pumps from Home Comfort Alliance provide efficient heating and cooling in one unit. Upgrade today and enjoy 18 months same as cash financing and up to 15% off through March. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. Adults ages 18 to 65 and older are invited to try out for the PSSBL this Sunday, March 16th at Hogan Park at Russell Road in Kent. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-Little Leaguers to high school and even former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
Through March 31st, save double your sales tax from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Plus, enjoy easy zero down, zero payments, and zero interest, same as cash 12-month financing. Visit lakewashingtonwindows.com to save double today.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt, and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today. MSRP for stock number 26315 is $30,585.
Hi, this is Nancy Penrose, owner of Big Trees in Snohomish. Spring has sprung. Need color to brighten up your yard or privacy trees to keep your neighbors guessing? Now is the time to buy. With hundreds of trees arriving in the nursery daily, Big Trees has the perfect tree for you. Check out our updated inventory list online at bigtreesupply.com or come visit the nursery today.
The madness tips off next week, and with it comes your chance to win the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks, presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
Over the past decade, Washington state politicians have doubled state spending with no improvements to the issues we care about. Instead, we now have the third highest cost of living in the nation and a $12 billion deficit. It's time to tell legislators we need better results, not bigger taxes. Act now at affordablewashington.org. Paid for by people for an affordable Washington and Olympia, Washington. Top 5 donors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Alaska Air.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
What can Sam Darnold do that Geno Smith can't? It's just an interesting angle to take, comparing and contrasting these two quarterbacks. I think that the way that we had talked about the trade was Geno Smith is so experienced. He knew this team. He had been here in Seattle. He was great under pressure. And even though Sam Darnold had a great season last year, oh my God, it's such a risk. But I think it's fair, Bump, to look at them and say, well, what does Sam do that Geno can't? What does Geno do better? And you've been looking at these two quarterbacks, watching some tape. What have you found?
All right, when it comes to Geno, he operates better with chaos going on around him. When you have one of the worst offensive lines in the game, that's just a regular Sunday for you. Just you're going to know that there are going to be bodies at your feet. The pocket is going to collapse. Can I stand in there and just make the tough throw? Geno showed that he can do that. Now, both of these quarterbacks were some of the most pressured quarterbacks in the game. And Geno had a calm base to him when he's in the pocket. I look at Sam Darnold. He wasn't asked to work from the pocket as much as Geno Smith was asked to work from the pocket. When you're the Seahawks and you're in shotgun most of the time, you're going to be throwing from the pocket. When I look at Sam Darnold, there was more play action. And that's one of the things I feel like Sam Darnold's better than Geno at, is the body language and the play action. I always look at your boy Aaron Rodgers when it comes to the play action. Maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, not this past year. My man looked 40 for sure this past year. But he used to be a magician. He throw the ball out there, hide it behind his back, calm body language, flip his hips and let it go. Sam Darnold's not on that level, but he does that better than Geno. And it's simply, part of it is because he was asked to do it. Geno wasn't asked to do that very much. We saw Geno under center a few times, and then remember there was a couple times he got his foot stepped on. It's like we never saw it again. Grubb was like, "No, we're good. We're good. We cannot execute that."
Shotgun only.
So I think that if Geno was given the opportunity, he probably could have gotten better at that. But his body language, I never really believed that he was going to hand the football off. Now that's me from the press box looking down. As a linebacker, who knows? He probably could influence him a bit more than he was influencing me. But that's the main thing that sticks out. Geno Smith better under pressure. Sam Darnold more of a magician with the football and play action.
What about how they compare? Like one thing I always heard is like Geno has a better arm than people think. He can make all these great throws. There's not a throw he doesn't like. What about Sam's arm and what he can do?
Oh, Sam's arm's better. It's stronger for sure. I think Geno has been more accurate throughout his career. He's had more opportunities to be more accurate as well. But let's look at their air yards for the Minnesota Vikings last year. Attempted air yards, I should say, 4,580. Then you look at the Seattle Seahawks, about 4,060. Not a huge disparity when it comes to that. 4,580. But you look at Sam Darnold. There's a throw he made, and this was one of the reasons why before he got moved to the Vikings, I was excited about him because I watched him with the Jets. And there's this throw. He's rolling to his left side. And he has to throw it back across his body, and it is on a rope. It is like 25 yards, frozen rope, right to his receiver. And I saw that throw, and I told myself, I have to dig deeper now. Like, let's see what this Sam Darnold is all about. I remember him at USC, but didn't really watch his All-22 like that. Sam's arm talent is crazy. I think Geno's placing of the football has been better. When I watched the last few games of the season with Sam Darnold, he was getting pressured, and some of his throws were off. He missed a tight end down the middle. There was a receiver on the sideline as well. He doesn't feel comfortable when he's sitting there and you have big D-line and linebackers getting at him, and that's something that he'll work on, and the Kubiak offense should help him get better at that.
Yeah, you were right. I was looking at those last two games. Aaron Glenn's defense blitzed him 55% of dropbacks.
Man.
That guy was under pressure all day, and that continued, obviously, against the Rams when he was sacked 9 times in that playoff game.
Yep.
I'm thinking back to when we had ESPN's Benjamin Solak on, and he had written an article about quarterbacks who kind of resurrect their careers, with Sam Darnold being the biggest story last year, Geno Smith having been one of those stories, Baker Mayfield being one of those stories, Jared Goff getting traded to the Lions and finding kind of a career resurgence there in a very different way. And one thing he said is, you can't just do this with any guy. It's not just like a second, third, or even fourth trip to a new team, even if it's a better environment, suddenly makes you a great quarterback. You have to have the tools.
Yep.
You have to be able to do it. You know, I need to, if I'm polishing this silver, like silverware set, well, it needs to be real silver. Like there needs to be something that I can find underneath this. Is that what you see with Sam? Like there is something underneath this, and that's what led to his success with Minnesota.
I know we're talking about what they do differently. But they both need that real silverware you're talking about.
Yeah.
They need it. It's not a mistake that Sam Darnold had the year that he had when you combine his arm talent with the offense he was in, and Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and Aaron Jones and some solid tight end play. He's not going to go over there with a 5th-round receiver, a 3rd-round receiver who are just trying to establish themselves and have the year that he had last year. It's not going to happen. You look at any quarterback that is not considered a top-tier quarterback, the Jalen Hurts, who is looking at the top tier right now after that Super Bowl win, a Brock Purdy, a Sam Darnold, a Geno. You need that real silverware. You need players around them because they can make up for some things. They get open. Justin Jefferson, one of the best route runners in the game. DK Metcalf, I know y'all hating on their hands sometimes. I get it, but he still made big plays. They have to be supported. Only a few quarterbacks can go out there and say, line anybody up, and I'm gonna get them the football. Guys like Sam and Geno need to be supported, and that's okay because football is a complete team sport. You got to support your main assets.
Chris Sims thinks that Darnold's physical skills are better than every quarterback in this draft except for Cam Ward.
So I do give him a little bit more of a chance here. I don't think this is going to be, definite, we're going to draft and try to replace Sam Darnold. Again, there's going to be a lot of people in football who are going to watch the film and go, Sam Darnold's better than his physical skills are every bit as good or better than everybody in the draft except for Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Now, it's not a crazy thing to say. I have no problem saying that either. There's certainly some good conversations to be had in that department.
Like, the ceiling already with Sam Darnold a little bit, but there's value in that, too.
Exactly. There is value. You saw that, and I think there's still more ceiling to kind of break through. Let's not hold him to such a strict standard where it's like, hey, he's played in one big game in his life and he didn't do awesome. Let's throw him off the freaking boat. Get him out of here.
I'd assume that Sam was some kind of bridge quarterback, and that's mostly because for Minnesota, that's what they initially brought him in as. His career, had kind of struggled since obviously flaming out with the Jets. And once Seattle freed up all this cap space, traded away Geno, traded away DK, I just automatically thought, are they rebuilding? So it's where my mind was when they signed Sam Darnold. Maybe, though, there is room for him to improve, and maybe this isn't the year they go draft a quarterback. I mean, maybe it is. But do you see more with Sam than maybe some other people have?
I think we see a lot of the same things, but I also think that we leave out the possibility for growth because he's 27 years of age. When you're in the league as long as he's been in and you've had the stops that he's had and you haven't had success, it's easy for people to say, well, we know what he can do. One good year with the Vikings. I look at Sam Darnold, I tell myself, he's 27 years of age. The Kubiak offense is similar to what he did in Minnesota. Some things still need to happen around him, but there's room for growth. More room for growth than Sam Darnold than there was for Geno, simply because of their age.
Right. You have watched a lot of tape on Sam. Vikings radio analyst Ben Leber has been on the call for a lot of Sam's games and knows him very well. And so we're going to bring Ben on next and ask him all of our Darnold questions. Don't go anywhere.
Breaking news.
The Seahawks have their quarterback. ESPN's Adam Schefter says former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold reached an agreement today on a 3-year, $100.5 million contract with Seattle. Bump, your immediate reaction.
Let's get it. Got our quarterback, man. A quarterback who fits this offense and what we think this offense is going to be. This was priority number one, was to get Sam Darnold.
Stay with Seattle Sports for updates and analysis. Read more at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports app.
Our first Mark Challenge victory is Aaron McCoy from McCoy Home Solutions, yet another small business owner that took the first Mark Insurance Challenge. Aaron, what was the initiative to make that call?
I've got something worth preserving for the sake of the people that I serve and my family. So it's important to me.
What did you learn through the process?
The experience with First Mark has been highly professional, informative individuals that have helped me from personal to professional insurance, life insurance, policies, coverage, cyberspace. Things that I was afraid to approach were pretty easily approachable.
How would you say their customer service has been, Aaron?
Absolutely 10 out of 10. I just couldn't say anything higher about First Mark. They've executed very well on as many levels as I could rate them.
So if you're a small business owner that wants to take the stress of insurance off your plate, do what Aaron McCoy did for McCoy Home Solutions. Make the call to First Mark Insurance. They're your teammate that goes to work for you. FirstMarkInsurance.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rance. Our local tax expert Greg Nunn wants taxpayers to know the IRS is now going after older cases very aggressively. If you received Form CP-504 from the IRS, do not ignore it. Be proactive and resolve your situation with Greg Nunn, N-U-N-N, None Better Tax Resolution.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Getting engaged? At Shane Company, dream engagement rings are our specialty. We have the most beautiful natural and lab-grown diamonds, hand-picked in every price range, ready to compare side by side. Shop online at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Ooh, ma.
What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
I'm Sia, and I support Humane World for Animals. Together, we have created a new version of Peter Gabriel's beautiful song, Salisbury Hill, to celebrate Humane World for Animals and everything they do. Enjoy the song and join us in helping Humane World for Animals end animal cruelty.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business.
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. Call 800-948-7878. That's 800-948-7878. 800-948-7878.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Daniel Jones is finalizing a 1-year, $14 million contract with the Colts via Adam Schefter. Jones had previously been with Minnesota, but the departure of Jones and Darnold, who signed here in Seattle, the Vikings will turn to J.J. McCarthy. Speaking of the Vikings, Minnesota snagged free agent guard Will Fries on a 5-year, $88 million deal. That one from Jeremy Fowler. Seahawks fans had been eyeing Fries in free agency as a potential fit, but it's back to the drawing board for Seattle.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Vikings radio analyst Ben Leber joining us right now on the Emerald Key Casino Sportsbook Hotline. And Ben, we have a lot to talk to you about, but namely a brand new Seahawk, former Viking Sam Darnold. When in Minnesota did it become apparent that Sam wasn't returning, and what was the feeling among fans and critics there?
Well, Stacy, that can come from a lot of different directions. You know, if you're asking me personally, I never felt like that Sam was ever going to be part of this organization after this year, and not at any point during the regular season that I think that we were going to bring him back or should bring him back. I always looked at him as a bridge quarterback. The long-term plan was to have J.J. McCarthy take over And no matter what, if he played really well, if he played poorly, I think it was one of those $10 million deals where it's like, hey, man, thanks. Appreciate it. Glad that he elevated his play. Glad he increased his value. But this was, to me, always going to be McCarthy's team for the future. Now, if you're asking from a different angle of a lot of other fans, I mean, a lot of fans really wanted him back, especially when he was going on, sort of a pseudo MVP run for a couple weeks. There's a lot of fans that said, pay this guy. Our window of opportunity to win a Super Bowl is actually now, and it's not further down the road that a lot of people thought going into the season. So it's been a mixed bag, but I think now that it's all said and done, everybody's very excited about McCarthy.
Ben, when you look at the season that Sam Darnold had, you lose twice to the same teams. And naturally, people are looking at the pressure that the Rams and the Lions were able to create. How much of that do you think was on Sam Darnold, and how much do you think that maybe the Rams and the Lions just outcoached the Vikings?
Well, outcoached is maybe not outcoached. I think they had better players than us, and obviously that's what everybody's attacking free agency hard for. And if you look at the way the Vikings have approached free agency, they obviously knew that they had some weaknesses on the offensive line, and they've addressed those needs, and they'll probably address them again, with even more depth in the next few days, and then ultimately in the draft here in several weeks. So I think that we always knew that our offensive line and our interior defensive line needed some work. I just didn't think, with all the weapons and with our coaching, that it was going to be exposed so much by those teams. And ultimately it was. And it was disappointing. So don't get me wrong. The late season game against the Lions, the last game of the season, Sam did not play very well at all. I know that he got pressured a little bit. He missed a lot of open throws. I think from a coverage standpoint, they did change some things up. They disguised really, really well. And they played a version of defense that he just was not ready for and had a hard time adjusting to it post-snap. So I'll chalk that one up. They got him. They got him pretty good. But I would say most of his struggles came because of a pretty porous offensive line.
Hey, Ben, I will let you know, full disclosure, that I would imagine a lot of people here in Seattle kind of see Sam Darnold as a version of a bridge quarterback. Maybe that's because he's replacing someone people felt was a bridge quarterback. And Seahawks fans kind of have their eye on this year's draft or next, wondering what John Schneider's next move will be. So that being said, I know there are limitations he has. To you, what are some of those limitations? And what was it that you felt where you were like, I just don't think he's got it. I don't think he's a guy. What did you see?
Well, it wasn't so much of what I saw to him to not think that he was the future. It was just the plan going forward with the Vikings when they drafted McCarthy. And, around here, we were all talking about how we wanted to get out from underneath of Kirk Cousins' contract. And, they can say all the right things, but I think they deep down inside knew that when Kirk came to free agency last year, they didn't want to match anything close to $100 million. And they wanted to go younger. They wanted to go cheaper. And I think that's been a long-term plan. So it wasn't so much that I was like, oh, boy, I don't like this style of play or whatever. He's just not fitting into the long-term plans for the whole organization for the next, 5 to 10 years. Yeah. So that's really where I was coming from. I do think that, of course, every player has limitations. I think for him, he is a quarterback that I don't think you want to rely on him throwing 50 times a game. He is actually a very strong-arm, big play quarterback, and I think that if they can devise an offense where you can run the football, have him go under center, play action, and then throw the ball deep, I think that's his best game. He's got an exceptionally strong arm, and he's very accurate. So his deep ball game is on point.
Clearly, the Minnesota Vikings have a bunch of weapons over there, and I think that we're seeing across the league, right? You can build a team and have a successful offense if you just support your quarterback. I look at the Vikings, the 49ers with Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts with Philly over there. Over here in Seattle, the situation has changed a little bit. No more DK Metcalf over here. You still have JSN. How close do you think the Seahawks can get to supporting Sam in the way that you feel is necessary to have him put together another good season?
Well, again, I think you probably have to add a bigger, rangier target at wide receiver now that DK's gone. You look at some of the situations that he put our receivers in, he put them in intentionally. He put the ball in some tough spots, and that wasn't because he was being inaccurate. He just knew that, hey, these guys have to go up and make a play sometimes. And so he needs some rangy, athletic receivers that can get down the field. And, I would like to say that he needs a tight end, but, we didn't really. We utilized our tight ends a little bit here and there. They had some spurts where they were relied upon, but it was mostly, getting the ball down the field with your receivers and having a strong running game. So I don't think that, even though it seems like you guys are depleted, I don't think you're that far away from having the weapons that he needs.
This suddenly became an incredibly young offense with a lot of roster holes and no clear leadership. I don't know that Sam immediately steps into that role, but being a quarterback and also suddenly the oldest player on offense, he just might. What do you know about, or what can you tell me about Sam the leader, maybe Sam the person?
You don't have to look very far back in the archives to see him getting hoisted up by his teammates as he walks in the locker room late in the season. I would say that it was a little slow to go at the start of the season when it comes to just the locker room and the leadership, because I think a large part of that was, I don't know if the players really knew before McCarthy got injured the direction this team was going. They were pretty neck and neck, which says a lot about JJ, that he was competing against Sam in a real way. And nobody really knew who was gonna be the quarterback of the team. And so I think it was a little bit split in the locker room. But then once JJ got hurt and Sam really asserted himself, man, the guys love him. He is California cool, but not in a lazy way. The dude, he loves football. He's there all the time. It is a passion for his. Like, you'll never question whether or not his love of the game. And I think what he's learned from KOC and what he's learned from this locker room, where we had a lot of new faces. Our defense was turned over quite a bit this last year, and you walk into an offense where you've got Justin Jefferson, who is a superstar of the league, who, by the way, doesn't have a big ego, so that was nice. But he walks in the locker room knowing that, like, I'm not really the biggest fish in here. I've got to find my own path, and he did it pretty quickly once McCarthy got injured. And everybody loves him. The organization loves him. And you could see by just the way the teammates respond around him that they really, truly, in a genuine way, they loved him as well.
The thing that keeps, I think, a lot of people optimistic about the Sam Darnold move is that he's coming to an offense that's similar to what you ran over there with the Minnesota Vikings. What did you like about that offense that allowed Sam to have the year that he had?
Well, just as I kind of reiterate this, I think just the big playability, I don't have the stats in front of me, but the number of air yards that he had on some of these completions is very high. The dink and dunk is not really his game. We had a game early in the season where I think he threw, I'm going to say, a 95-yard touchdown, and he was in our own end zone, under center play action pass, and he just heaved that thing down the field. And it was a huge play. Probably when you look back and say that was the defining, like, welcome to the Minnesota Vikings moment for him, where he opened a lot of people's eyes on, like, what he's capable of being. And I got to say that even when he had 4 interceptions against the Jaguars, we had a 3-game road trip where he did not play well. And he came back after that and he played lights out. He played fearlessly, and he didn't worry about making mistakes. I think if he can get into a system that allows the ball to go down the field and allows this environment where they're not going to harp on him for every mistake. Like, quarterbacks make mistakes. Quarterbacks push the ball sometimes. They want to make plays. They can be a little risky at times. They have to take chances. And if their coaching staff in Seattle is one that's over his shoulder and sort of like harping on him for every critical mistake, I don't think that he's going to thrive in that situation.
Hey, this is going to be more about the Vikings. I'm curious about just what it's been like in the overall search for a quarterback. Obviously, you guys have drafted guys. Like, I was really excited about, a couple different guys, Bridgewater, obviously, and we all know what happened there. But I've always been curious about how the Vikings and their fans have seen Cousins, whether they initially saw it as like oh, it's this great free agent that might take us there, and then it was like never enough. I don't know. The reason I ask, Ben, is because I think a lot of Seahawks fans are suddenly in this place after Russell Wilson when they go, oh, this is what it's like to kind of be finding the guy, and you're winning, so you're never getting first overall, but you're still searching for that. Tell me about that experience.
It's been frustrating. Yeah. I mean, it's not like we haven't tried.
No.
Christian Ponder was supposed to be the guy that checked all the boxes, and Rick Spielman will admit it now publicly, and I've heard him say it publicly that they flat out missed, and they were really enamored with his photographic memory. They're like, this he's a genius mind. We could talk for an hour about a new offensive install, and he won't take a single note, and then he'll go up on the board and like just spit it out all on this grease board, and they're like, oh my gosh, he's brilliant. But he just never put it together. The processing speed just wasn't there on the field. And so they felt like they've done all their due diligence on some of these guys. You mentioned Teddy. Teddy was good, but kind of limited. And our biggest success was back in 2009 when we had Brett Favre for that one great year, and then he tried to come back in 2010, and it just didn't work out. But we've gone through the carousel. We've tried different avenues. We've tried rookies. We've tried mid-tier vets, and it just doesn't always work out. Now with Kirk, I think Kirk's biggest issue was his lack of mobility, and everybody loved his accuracy. Patrick Mahomes talks about how he watches Kirk Cousins film in the offseason because he wants to know how to be a better quarterback. That's the benchmark for, I think, where Kirk is as far as just a true, pure passing quarterback. I liked Kirk a lot, but I also understood that, look, man, he can get a little careless with the football, and he has zero escapability. So in the modern NFL, you have to have a quarterback that can run around a little bit. So getting long-winded on this one, but it's been frustrating as well. We've tried a whole bunch of things. So I don't envy your guys' situation overall, but I think Sam's going to be a good one, and hopefully for us, McCarthy is the real deal.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you know about Geno or how much you watched his game, but I've been sitting back the last 12 hours just trying to pick apart the game between each two. What would you say Sam does better than Geno and Geno does better than Sam if you have that?
I actually been really impressed with Geno, the way that he can get the ball out and the way that he can make quick decisions. I think that he's a little bit more escapability. I don't think Sam's far away. He just doesn't feel like he has to showcase it as much. So I think when it comes to short, quick passing game, making quick decisions, all that stuff, really impressed with Geno. But I think if you really want to push the ball down the field and you want a big-time playmaker, then I think Sam's got the edge there. I don't think that going back to not having Sam throw 50 times a game, I just think that sometimes when you add it all up for 4 quarters, I think the mental side for him can get a little bit bogged down when you start mixing in disguise packages and you start throwing different defenses at him. And then especially if the offensive line is not picking up and he keeps getting hit, I think he will feel those things. That's why I think a quick strike, big time offense suits him more.
Last one for me here, Ben. Not only do we have a former Vikings quarterback here in Seattle, but also a former offensive coordinator. Clint Kubiak, quarterbacks coach in 19 and 20, OC in 21, I think with Cousins there. What can you tell me about Clint?
He's a great guy. I mean, everybody loves and loved Clint when he was around. And, of course, there's a reputation that precedes the family name. And, I definitely think that he's earned his right to be in that spot. And, I think he's going to be innovative. I always think that these modern coaches do such a better job of adapting their offenses to the specific skill sets of these players. And I certainly think that's what he's going to do with Sam. I think back in the day, when we had Norv Turner here, it was like, Norv has an offense. This is how he won his Super Bowls in Dallas. You've got to fit my offense. And these are the plays I'm going to call, and you better try to execute them. And that's not the case anymore. So I think that Clint's going to do a great job. And I can't wait to see what. Hopefully, Sam's always been in this position lately to prove everybody wrong. So I hope he does it again.
We do too. He is Vikings radio analyst Ben Leber. Ben, thanks so much. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, anytime, guys. Good luck.
Have a good one. Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down. How were the Lions able to neutralize Darnold during their Week 18 matchup?
I had to go back and watch this film because that's what everybody's saying on the text lines. The last 2 games, Bum, what's going on there? So let me break it down for you. The Lions did a great job of rotating their safeties. So when I say rotate safety, that means there's movement. You can start off with a 2-high look, rotate 1 down, or vice versa. There was one play specifically where the safety is down in the box, right? And when the ball is snapped, he gets all the way back to a deep half. That is so hard to do. You're dropping 15 to 20 yards on a sprint. So if I'm Sam Darnold, I'm looking at a single high safety, this safety here in the box, and I'm thinking, worst case scenario, that safety is going to float to the flat. That corner will get deep. I'll probably get a cover 3 look. This is so hard to execute. Safety down in the box, he flips his hips and he goes to a 2-high look, and you can tell that Sam was looking there, just messed him up a little bit. Linebackers did a great job of showing blitz and then getting depth as well. You can only do these things with versatile safeties and linebackers, and then the man coverage was on point with the Lions. And that was crazy because they were missing some guys too. And we went into this game thinking maybe Sam Darnold is just going to have one of his games, signature games out of his 1-year fiasco he got going on, and he balls out. But it was the man coverage as well. He didn't feel comfortable making some tight throws. Some were high, some were low because you got a player on his hip. But really for me, it was the games they were playing with that rotation with the safeties, and then the linebackers showing blitz, getting in the A-gap, and then dropping deep. When you force a quarterback to get a pre-snap read, an in-drop read, and get to the top of his drop and have to make sure he knows what he's looking at, it's going to be tough. Now, quarterbacks do it all the time, and Sam Darnold has done it throughout the season. But on that day, the Lions had a game plan. And then you say Glenn blitzed them 55% of the time. Come on now. So imagine that. You're getting blitzed 55% of the time, and now you're seeing guys show blitz and then get the heck up out of there and drop into a zone. It was just a great game plan.
Second down. Well, we have one Seahawks signing. What are your thoughts on Josh Jones being with the Hawks?
All right, Josh Jones, when I first heard that name, I go to Ravens Twitter and our X. I just want to see how are they feeling about this situation. And it didn't seem like they were going to miss him a lot. And I had to look at his numbers and try to understand why. Only played 46 snaps last year. That's 4.1% of the snaps. Played 18% of snaps on special teams. 9 snaps against Cincy, 6 against Denver, 2 against Philly, 11 Giants, 2 Pitt, 16 against Houston. He was the guy who was brought in like a George Fant type of guy. I'm going to report as eligible, be attached to the offensive line. They used him a lot on the backside of zone. He was just a guy that I look at and I think he still needs some development. He still needs some work. But Kubiak in this offense with his coaches, they're going to pride themselves on development. So this is a move, a depth move, I think. I think there's still some things that they can do. You see some of the potential there, but, when you're only getting 46 snaps in a season, that means that you were the second or third man up, and that offensive line with the Ravens, we know, are one of the better ones in the game. So there's some work for him to do, but he was more of like a George Fant type of guy with this team.
Third down. What do you love about Daniel Jones being moved to the Colts?
I love it. Because you add competition, and they're kind of the same type of player, okay? Anthony Richardson is way more athletic, right? Crazy arm, the legs are on point, but let's not sleep on Daniel Jones. He did rush for like 900 one year and 10 touchdowns. He's got that in him. I think this is the best case scenario for him. And what I like about this Daniel Jones move, you're paying him $14 million for the year, not $40 a year like the Giants did, which was crazy. Your evaluation was all off with that dude. But I said this last week, I thought that they should do this because of just a style of play. You got Anthony Richardson, who completed 50% of his passes last year. We know that he can run the rock, 635 rushing yards, but so can Daniel during his whole career. He has 2,100. Similar type of player. Obviously, Anthony Richardson is more athletic, but Daniel Jones has had some better moments in this league so far.
Do you think it's an open competition, or like is Jones
open.
backing up?
No, I think it's wide open. It should be, at least.
Fourth down. Are there any available guards left in free agency that you actually do think the Hawks should look at?
All right, so we know Will Fries is gone. Aaron Banks is gone. Patrick McCarr is gone. James Daniel. Like, the top dogs are gone. Hey, big ups Laken Tomlinson. He signed with the Houston Texans, so he's got himself a job. The guys that I'm looking at Will Hernandez over there with the Arizona Cardinals. I like him because he is cheaper. His market value is on about $4 million. We know that Schneider does not want to toss money at them. Dalton Reisner is a guy that I've been talking about for a couple weeks. He is still available, $3.5 million. The big one, though, Mekhi Becton from Philly, Super Bowl champion, play tackle, play some guard. He's versatile, and we know that the Seahawks like guys who can play multiple positions. If we're going off to the big homie Ray, we're saying get a PhD in one spot, and you go ahead and get it. But Mekhi Becton can play multiple positions. This is the big signing, though. About $10 to $11 million is what he's expected to go for. He's 25 years of age. I think you got to take a look. So those are my guys right now. Now, there's a bunch left, but those are my guys. You got Will Anderson, you got Dalton Reisner, and then the money maker, the let's go get it, will be Mekhi Becton.
Kind of a weird question for the last minute here, building off of what you just said. I'm getting anxious hearing all those names that you've listed that are now off the market, thinking, who's going to be left? Like, who are they going to sign? And I know that you mentioned Mekhi Becton as an option there, but it feels like not enough. Like, I want this offensive line to take a jump. If it's not going to be by adding a bunch of, plug-and-go starters, is there something that we can see with coaching? Like, is coaching, offensive line coaching, scheme, potentially going to be a factor in improving the line?
It has to be. And the reason why I think it can be more, have more of an impact this year than last year is because of the continuity with that group. Kubiak, the two guys that he signed to help with that offensive line, he knows them. He knows they know his system, and there's going to be less teaching going involved when it comes from Kubiak to the coaches. The coaches can kind of take the room and just go for it. No, you're going to need a combination of things. I said it before, development with these young guys. Go and get yourself a veteran. I know you got Josh Jones, but what are you really expecting out of him? And coaches, man, but there's a big name out there if you want to take a swing.
Giants great and WFAN host Tiki Barber went off on a fan live on air. You'll hear why next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Your two most prominent players on offense said, I want out of here. If you ask the texters, they would say both of them have attitude problems. We'll see what Geno signs for. If he signs for somewhere in around 40 to 45, what does that say about how he felt about Seattle? You got to put a lot of faith in John Schneider and Mike McDonald. John said, we're not going to do anything that hurts the team. The team is number one. The player is number two.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
We at 3 Tree Roofing understand that your home is your castle. That's why our certified technicians use state-of-the-art installation methods to deliver the highest warranties available. Check out our hundreds of online reviews and schedule a free estimate to see for yourself. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. Has Viagra stopped working for you? Do you hate the side effects? If you've taken Viagra for any length of time, you already know that pills are not the solution to ED. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. No pills, no shots, no surgery. We can also treat Peyronie's disease. Our non-invasive treatment for ED is painless and highly effective. We have treated thousands of men just like you. Stop living with this problem and do something about it. Do yourself a favor, do your partner a favor, and call us today.
Call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com. HSA cards welcome and financing available.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Pay no interest for 2 full years. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a free estimate now. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90NATION.
The Gene Simmons Band, live Tuesday, April 8th at Muckleshoot Event Center. He's the God of Thunder. He's going to rock and roll all night and bring you an unforgettable night of head-banging rock and roll. Get tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com. The Gene Simmons Band, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline on Bump and Stacy, taking a break from the Seahawks to tell you what else is trending on your timeline. I know NFL free agency has everyone regularly checking for updates. I keep getting notifications from Adam Schefter every time. I'm like, what's it going to be? I have Seahawks trade PTSD. Who else got moved? But instead, we are going to another city to start. New York. Giants great and WFAN host Tiki Barber went off on a caller yesterday. Why? Because that caller said that he wished the team had thrown the final 2 games of the regular season so that the Giants could have had the first overall pick.
What should Brian Daboll have done in that game that would have secured a loss?
You don't try to lose, dude. I mean, I wish you'd called earlier. I wish you had called earlier, but that's the most ridiculous phone call I've ever heard in my life. No player or coach is ever going to try to lose a football game.
I don't get that.
And if someone calls the station again and says they should lose a game, I'm hanging up on you and banning you from the station. It's the stupidest, most ridiculous thing I've ever freaking heard. So stop saying lose games so you can draft higher. The draft is not a guarantee. Rookies suck too, by the way. So forget thinking you're going to change your franchise by losing games. It doesn't work that way. because you end up firing people. Everybody has a negative connotation about the organization. Free agents don't come, and it all starts because you want to lose one game. But you want to lose one game, then you want to lose 4 games, and you want to lose 10 games, and you want to suck. And when you suck, guess what? People say you suck.
That's well
so
said.
stop calling and saying lose games. I hate it. You guys drive me freaking insane.
Great rant from Tiki. I saw you nodding.
I love this. I love this, man, because these are people who walk the streets every day, listen to shows, and we appreciate the support, and then go out and cheer for their teams, but they don't really understand what it's like to be in a locker room, in an organization, and be fighting for your life. I know you guys see the guys getting paid $20 million here, $50 million guaranteed there. There's about 80% of the guys on that team who are fighting for their NFL careers every single week. Coaches fighting for the NFL careers every single week. There's no way they're going to go out there and try to lose games on purpose. So, no, I'm glad Tiki went off on them because it's just they're not aware of the situation. And clearly, this has been said a lot on this show, and Tiki had enough. New York Giants, you guys already get laughed at in the NFL. The Jets get laughed at. The Browns get laughed at. And I guarantee you none of them are intentionally trying to lose football games.
Well, and I think Tiki's point about all people say when you suck is that you suck. That's all people say. They don't say, wow, they've got all these draft picks to figure out what to do with it. You know a team that's had a lot of first, second, third, fourth overall picks? The Browns.
The Browns.
You know a team that has had a lot of high draft picks? The Titans.
Jets.
The Jets. The Giants
they
at
still
times.
Suck.
You know what I mean? Like it is hard to fix a team that is shattered, a culture that is broken. It is hard to cycle through offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators and new coaching staffs and new schemes and new systems every single year because every other year someone gets fired or someone gets fired midseason. These are lost seasons. You waste talent that you do find. Like, you look at the teams that are successful, the Eagles. They win a lot. I know they've had some bad seasons. Most recently, they had a 4-win season like not long ago. I think not 2020, maybe before then. But among the winningest franchises, the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Seahawks are one of them. The Packers are among those teams. The 49ers have been a little up and down, but obviously have recently found success. You can find ways to build up and find talent while still winning. And I know that we're going to be talking about a Seahawks team that's kind of doing a bit of a reset. And I know that last year and the year prior, we had some people saying, I wish they'd just lose. I wish they would just lose. The season feels lost. But I think that you lose so much more than a game when you give up on the season.
It's toxic. And you're losing and you're killing your culture. You're killing the belief from the top all the way down to the bottom. The fans who are showing up know their team has absolutely no chance. I understand the logic behind fans thinking teams should lose, but could you imagine going to that game and thinking your team has absolutely no shot? Why would you even go up to the game? Go to the game. They're already selling a bunch of tickets here to out-of-state people, and then that's just not here. It's everywhere. So now imagine you're selling your ticket, your team has no chance, the culture is all bad. When I think of the New York Football Giants, I get no warm, fuzzy feelings.
No.
Why? Because they've lost for a long time.
Can I also say one final thing? If that's going to be your take, say it with your chest. I know y'all heard that listener at the very end go, no, I'm not saying lose games, but you are.
Yeah,
you just
are.
don't want to be that guy. That is what you're saying. You just don't want to commit to it because you don't even like the thought of it.
No, because as soon as you said it, you realized you were talking to one of the greatest to do it for the Giants and felt that passion behind it and took a couple steps back.
Exactly. Next up, a potentially scary situation turned out all right. Rick Riz, one of our absolute favorites, had to briefly leave Monday's Mariners broadcast after taking a foul ball to the side of his head. Thankfully, he's okay. He returned to the booth to let everyone know he's all right.
And the count is 0-1 on Sundstrom. Folks, I want to let you know that, I took a pretty good shot back of my head with a foul ball up here in the radio booth. But I'm sore, but I'm okay. Here's the next offer. Swinging a foul back at the count 0-2. I'm getting a lot of texts from my friends. And I just want to let you know I'm okay. I got a good sized bump on my head, but I'm going to be okay. My mom always said I had a hard head, Gary, so it paid off today. I could not believe that ball got up here that quickly.
I love Rick. What a pro.
Man.
Bouncing right back in.
We need to make sure he's going through concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Take care, Rick. Concussions have come so far, and this made me think of a story. Obviously, we hope Rick is okay. When I got my first concussion, I was in high school. They told my mom, don't let him sleep for more than 3 hours. Put him in a dark room. Can't look at screens. Now, you get a concussion, they're like, all right, you'll be fine. Just Just don't get your heart rate up too much and take it easy.
So I had heard that you can't fall asleep after a concussion. Do you guys know why?
It doesn't matter anymore. You don't.
Okay.
You can sleep now.
Okay. I never actually looked at the science behind it at all. I just
didn't know.
thought that was.
We just didn't know.
Literally, when I was younger, I thought, oh, if you fall asleep when you get a concussion, you'll die. Like, that's just what I thought.
Yeah. Oh, no. My mom was waking me up frantically every 2 hours.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Now they're like, yeah, go home, go to sleep.
Oh, God. Next story here. Bills wide receiver Keon Coleman shared a wild combine story of a team getting mad at him for a really dumb reason.
It's kind of set up to kind of throw you off your P's and Q's so you can mess up. You be out there all day. Team's mad, I'm eating fruit snacks. I'm like, I'm hungry. I'm listening. Can I, grab a little fruit snack every now and then? Y'all got all the snacks in here. But that's just for show. If you ain't gonna drive me over some fruit snacks.
I love Keon Coleman. He has had so many quotable moments or viral moments since signing with the Bills, and I'm completely with him on this one. I know that when you're drafting someone, it's a huge investment, and you're trying to be like, what's every character test we can give? But if you put a pack of fruit snacks in front of me, and we're sitting here talking for an hour, and I'm hungry, I'll probably eat them.
Did you know that performance coaches encourage athletes to eat a small bag of fruit snacks before a workout because it gives you a little bit of energy? Yeah, they're not saying go crazy.
Yeah, but like the sugar. And
give it. It's okay to have fruit snacks, especially when you're a 22-year-old with metabolism that's crazy. You're just gonna burn that off in 30 minutes anyway. Yeah, man, this is the shady games that are played during the combine, trying to throw guys off. I'm so glad Keon Coleman is who he is. It doesn't matter, and he's gonna get better every single year. I like watching this.
Did you ever hear of any other stories where you were like, just dumb tests, or maybe good ones, maybe the opposite, where you thought that's a really good way to test someone's character?
No, not really. All the stories I heard were just about football type of stuff. But I'm sure they're analyzing every move that you make, how you sit down, looking guys in the eyes, shaking hands. Like it's all a test. And some of these tests are ridiculous. Let this young man eat a fruit snack.
I'm thinking back to the draft day moment. What was it? You put a $20 bill in the book, and then he was like, oh, hey, coach, someone left money in the book. Do you guys watch Draft Day?
No.
Everyone hates that movie, but I liked that movie.
I have not seen Draft Day.
I haven't seen it.
What?
I know it's on Amazon.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Okay, well, Kevin Costner is a GM, and I think they send a book that has, like a playbook that has money in it, or they do something, and then the guy calls back and says, hey, there's money in here. And they wanted to test not just if he'd open the playbook, but if he'd call them and say there's money in here.
$20?
I don't think it was $20. Does anyone remember what happens in Draft Day?
I'm keeping that. I'm already poor. I'm a college student. I'm keeping that 20.
I haven't gotten that first NFL check yet.
It reminds me of the Jamarcus Russell. Like, what was it? They gave him a blank disc. And they were like,
they
watch your film.
Did you watch the film? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it was great. I looked amazing. Two things we learned about Sam Darnold today. That's coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Why I like the Sam Darnold deal and why the more we talked through it this morning on the show, it just made more and more sense to me, and why everybody, I think, in the league kind of felt like, yep, this made a lot of sense for John Schneider and the Seahawks.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
A deal that's similar to Geno's 3 years ago, similar to Baker Mayfield's, gives this team plenty of still cap room and opportunity, both in this draft and throughout the rest of the offseason. I think it's a win-win all the way around.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets elegance. It's Mike Salk here, and this summer you can experience breathtaking Cascade views, world-class dining, and of course the best entertainment. Elevate your next getaway by combining effortless style with the utmost in relaxation. The hotel opens this summer with deluxe king and 2 queen rooms, premiums, grand suites, signature suites, and the breathtaking views of the Cascades and the Snoqualmie Valley. For more details, go to snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. With thousands of full replacements with expert craftsmanship and unbeatable warranties, we've been building roofs you can trust for over 5 decades. It's more than just a job, it's our promise to you. Protect your investment with a free Golden Pledge warranty on all GAF roof replacements over $15,000. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be?
What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Is that a new Samsung Galaxy A15 5G?
Yeah, I got it for free when I joined Cricket Nation.
Sounds pretty great.
At Cricket, anyone can get a new phone when they switch.
Whoa.
With a high-quality camera, meaning more flattering selfies for all. And super fast 5G, so you can post them for all to see. Your friends, your family, your ex. Free phone! Free phone!
Okay, I'll switch.
Welcome to Cricket Nation.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month voice plan. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
Attention passengers, we've reached 10,000 feet and internet is now available for purchase.
I just paid hundreds for this flight, and you can't even throw in internet? I'll just take the free pretzels.
Sorry, but I do have snack boxes for sale.
I'm just gonna sleep.
In that case, we are selling pillows and blankets as well.
I'll just breathe. That's free, right?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, don't neglect maintenance on your vehicle. Keep it safe. At Bucky's Complete Auto, we have you covered with available financing. For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. There's a Bucky's just about everywhere for oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Bucky's.com for the location near you.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Our friends at Mazda of Everett always offer you their lowest price. Shop over 800 new Mazdas online at mazdaofeverett.com. Click on Get the Mazda of Everett price for their best deal. Shop mazdaofeverett.com or stop in and meet our friends at Mazda of Everett located in Everett at 11409 Highway 99. If you're shopping for a new car, make sure our friends at Mazda of Everett are on your list.
Looking for a smart way to improve your home comfort without breaking the bank? 2 words, heat pump. John Curley here. Upgrade to Home Comfort Alliance Heat Pump and get efficient heating in the winter and cooling in the summer in one unit. Heat pumps use less energy and are environmentally friendly. Plus, enjoy 18 months, same as cash financing, and up to 15% off all heat pumps and air conditioning systems through March. Home Comfort Alliance for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
Ladies, and you guys too, have you noticed visible signs of aging, those deep wrinkles, fine lines, and facial creases stealing your youthful glow? Sagging skin, crow's feet, and loss of facial contour are all natural effects of aging, but you no longer have to let them define your appearance. Introducing the new Skin Lift, the groundbreaking facelift led by Dr. Brian Scott. The advanced new Skin Lift addresses key signs of facial aging for women and men, restoring natural youthful contour. Whether it's replenishing volume lost over time or lifting the skin to smooth out those creases, the new Skin Lift can help you look 10 to 20 years younger with both surgical and non-surgical options. It's Hollywood's best kept secret and now available to you. Get a free consultation and save $250 off your new skin facelift. Schedule at newskinlift.com or 206-222-1225. Look 10 to 20 years younger and restore your youthful appearance with the new skin facelift. newskinlift.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Bump, normally I'm the one that you guys have to tell to watch sports movies and all these classics I haven't seen, but you've been told by multiple people to watch Draft Day. I like the way one listener described it. it as simultaneously the worst and best movie. It's like
I love those.
You watch it and you know it's bad, and there are so many things that are unrealistic about it. The Seahawks are in it. A fake Pete Carroll is in it. And you think, God, this movie's so bad. Well, let me keep watching.
It's like a Netflix deal?
No, it's I don't know.
I think it's on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're gonna roll your eyes, but then you won't stop watching.
I love those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I can't explain, but it's got that $100 bill taped in the back of the playbook scene that I was very poorly explaining, and initially said a $20 bill. Okay. Two things that we learned or stood out to us about Sam Darnold. This was from a conversation we had with Vikings radio analyst Ben Leber. I'm going to get to the first here, Bump. I know that this caught your eye, or excuse me, caught your ear.
Every player has limitations.
Oop, wrong one, right here.
So I think if he can get into a system that allows the ball to go down the field and allows this environment where they're not going to harp on him for every mistake. Like, quarterbacks make mistakes. Quarterbacks push the ball sometimes. They want to make plays. They can be a little risky at times. They have to take chances. And if their coaching staff in Seattle is one that's over his shoulder and sort of like harping on him for every critical mistake, I don't think that he's going to thrive in that situation.
I know this gave you pause.
Okay. The first time I heard it, I thought he was talking about the environment of Seattle. The fans, the media, all that good stuff. You make mistakes, fans are going to talk about it, media members are going to talk about it. That is our job to point it out. There's a way that we do it that isn't as aggressive as, say, Boston or New York or whatnot. But now listening to it again, he's talking about the coaches. So he's saying you can't helicopter this dude. You can't just always be hovering around and pointing out every single mistake, because you're right. I've never seen a quarterback go 40 for 40 for 500 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. It just does not happen. Mistakes are made because you're playing against human beings who are preparing for you. They know your tendencies. They're looking at down and distance. No, I agree with that. How patient are they going to be? That's also one of the questions I have when it comes to where the Seahawks are in this situation. Are we looking at this second year, or are they looking at this second year and thinking we have to win 12, 13 games to really prove ourselves? Or are they looking at the situation as of now, because you still have free agency, then the draft coming up, and they're thinking, all right, let's just take steps in the right direction and we'll be okay. Sam Darnold is going to be our guy for at least 3 years. He has room to grow. That's the approach that I think needs to be taken with Sam Darnold. He needs room to grow. We've seen 1 year of him looking like a Pro Bowl type of quarterback. Can he duplicate it? I think there's a good chance. But during that growth, there will be some bad games, some bad decisions. He's not going to not throw an interception this year. It's football. It is what it is.
I know we all see football as like, well, it's a tough sport, and if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen kind of approach. But when it comes to coaching styles, you've been a coach and you've been coached. Do you think it's actually really common for people to just respond to different types of coaching, and that there are good players that respond to more positive reinforcement as a force?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially this generation, these kids out there.
Here.
You know, and I know we talk about the modern day athlete and we kind of poke fun at them, but it's not their fault. This is just the world that they're growing up in. We created this world, this soft world, pat on the back, no one gets left behind, everything is okay, not really 100% honest type of world that, you know, they have grown up in. But yeah, there are some players, and especially your quarterback. Your quarterback gets to be nurtured more than anybody else on the football team, because, you know, at the end of the day, you're going to need him to toss the ball at least 25 or 30 times, to step in the huddle and lead, to show up every day and work, and to be on the football field and deal with all the pressure that comes with being a quarterback. So I think quarterbacks have been nurtured a bit more than the average football player, for sure. Probably a bit more now because they're getting paid all this money. You're directly connected to the offensive coordinator and the head coach. Just a different lane for quarterbacks. But overall, most athletes that I have come encounter in the last 10 years need to be nurtured a bit more.
I don't know enough about Mike Macdonald to know if he's that guy, or to know that if Sam Darnold's a quarterback who responds better to maybe positive reinforcement, or just doesn't like to be nitpicked too much by like a helicopter coach. I don't know how Mike Macdonald is as a coach. And I know he's not the position coach. He'll have a quarterback's coach and an offensive coordinator, but he's still going to be there. That's an important relationship.
I think Mike is so aware of who he is, who he wants his team to be, and each individual player. That's part of the makeup of a player, his resume. You're going to ask all the right questions when it comes to people he's dealt with through his life at other organizations, and figure out what's the most effective way to coach this guy. I knew When DK went off, don't say nothing to him. He's on the sideline. You got to let him cool off. But 9 times out of 10, he's going to walk back over to you on the sideline and be like, yeah, I was probably tripping right there. Or even after the games, don't ask him too much about that situation on the sideline because he's not going to give you nothing. But I also think that he was aware of himself and would go back and make things right. So it's up to the coaches to understand exactly who they are coaching and what they need to have success.
All right, let's go to the second cut here. Now, this is more about a style of play. We asked Ben, hey, what type of game suits Sam Darnold?
Every player has limitations. I think for him, he is a quarterback that I don't think you want to rely on him throwing 50 times a game. He is actually a very strong-arm, big-play quarterback, and I think that if they can devise an offense where you can run the football, have him go under center, play action, and then throw the ball deep, I think that's his best game. He's got an exceptionally strong arm, and he's very accurate. So his deep ball game is on point.
Geno Smith was 4th last year in pass attempts. That's in part because of Ryan Grubb's offense and, because they had some offensive line issues and stuff. But this is a team that was very pass-heavy and did ask their quarterback at times to throw the ball a ton. I don't think that's the best way to win. They were running into troubles being kind of flat as an offense. How quickly can they turn that around? Can they? Is this something they can fix in an offseason?
Yeah, I think they can. It's because, but the two guys who are responsible for the perception of the offense are gone. Yeah. Grubb is in Bama.
That's true.
Geno is in Vegas. So you're starting all over. You're starting with a coordinator who comes from the right tree, in my opinion, when it comes to the type of quarterback that Sam Darnold is. Like, could you imagine if they got any other quarterback? And this was the perfect situation. I know expectations probably need to be tapered a little bit, or you're just not 100% sure of how he's going to develop, but this was the perfect available quarterback for a Kubiak system, other than going to the draft and trying to move up to the number 2 pick and get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, which probably wasn't going to happen, right? This is it. So they can get better because the identity of the offense is different. The identity of this quarterback that is here is different, but you still need to go out and prove it every single week.
A lot of moves so far as we head into NFL free agency, and this is obviously following some blockbuster trades from the Seattle Seahawks. Let's find out what NFL insider James Palmer thinks about everything. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
It's happened. Geno has been traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a 3rd-round pick in the upcoming 2025 draft, on his way to Vegas to be reunited with his former head coach, Pete Carroll.
Wow. I did not see this coming.
No.
And
you're shocked.
I am. I just thought that this was a given.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Hey friends, Stacy Rost here. Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? That would also be Wayscar Ford in Auburn. And what dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? Yes, that is correct. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn still. Who's the only Ford dealer in all of Washington to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They offer free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all of their new Fords. Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit to you? Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They've given over $750,000 back to customers who have sold them their cars. And finally, what dealership has been family-owned and operated in Auburn for over 103 years? You guessed it. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Febreze.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then You spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Roger. Roger, why did you call First Mark Insurance?
Over the last several years, my homeowner's insurance policies just kept on going up and up and up. For years, it was $1,100. Last year, it was $2,500. And this year, $5,000. That's what got me to call First Mark Insurance.
Were they able to save you any money?
Absolutely. Within a couple of days, came up with a proposal that blew my socks off. It was an amazing amount of reduction in cost.
Did they improve your coverage while saving you all that money?
They did both. The coverage is better and the cost is substantially less. It's half as much as I was paying last year. Recommend First Mark to anyone who is looking to get better coverage at less cost.
Well, Roger did it, my family did it, and you got to do it, and it's totally free. Take the First Mark Challenge and see how much they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you will be our next First Mark Challenge victory. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com. First Mark Insurance. They work for you.
Hey, it's Jason Rance. I'm here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. When you're dealing with business owners and the idea that they owe money to the IRS and they feel like they might be letting their staff down and it just spirals out of control.
One thing I see with businesses, it's really tough because they have employees and maybe they're having a difficult time with the cash flow of the business. Then unfortunately, what a business often does is they quit making their payroll tax deposits, which is really about the worst thing you could be doing. I mean, it's a telltale sign if you're doing that. Hey, get someone that can help you kind of look at your business and see if things can be changed so that you can operate your business better and make those payroll tax deposits. Because let me tell you this, the IRS is on those right away.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, you have to call Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. From stress to success with IRS Solutions. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution.
The madness tips off next week, and with it comes your chance to win the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks, presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Daniel Jones is finalizing a one-year, $14 million contract with the Colts via Adam Schefter. Jones had previously been with Minnesota, but with the departure of Jones and Sam Darnold, who obviously signed here in Seattle, the Vikings will turn to J.J. McCarthy. Speaking of the Vikings, Minnesota has snagged free agent guard Will Fries on a 5-year, $88 million deal. Seahawks fans had been eyeing Fries, one, as a potential fit for Seattle, but it's back to the drawing board for John Schneider.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Bleacher Report and Underdog Fantasy NFL insider James Palmer joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. A lot to talk about, James, and a very busy week for you. How's it going?
It's going. I don't want to say I was like, oh yeah, this is happening, but that's the way that the whole 2 days are going. Don't take it personally. Don't think, yes, this is the next one. Here we go.
I wanted to start with the Geno trade. I personally was shocked. I knew it was a possibility, but I thought they'd just kick the can down the road, extend him, and then figure stuff out later. Were you surprised? Had you been hearing rumblings? I know you guys are all over it.
Yeah, I think that it was essentially this. If you really asked him, I think John Schneider would say, I didn't expect this to really happen. So does he always kind of plan? Of course. Remember how he used to drive Russell Wilson insane, how he was still going to pro days and watching quarterbacks throw when he was in the prime of his career? Like, so John is always looking, yes, and he is always prepared. But I do think they were like, we're fine with Geno. I think Mike liked Geno quite a bit, and I think Clint was comfortable with Geno. But then the numbers got to a point to where they said, whoa, I don't know if that's really what we want to do with a 34-year-old quarterback. Let's see if we can pivot here. And I think that's the part where we always know John's pretty good at, is making sure that eye that I mentioned, he always has, he's looking at something else. And I would always say this too, like, I've never heard John Schneider talk about Geno Smith the way that maybe Pete Carroll did and Mike McDonald did. I'm not saying he disliked him, but I don't know if it was ever as glowing as those two did. And obviously the coach's input's always huge. But, like, I think that started to make the shift when the numbers just were not close. And then when you realize the needs that the team had, and they were dealing with the DK trade as well, and then you realize putting all of that together, you go, maybe we just pivot as an offense entirely. We have a new OC, and maybe we can get somebody cheaper. And I have a plan B, which is Sam Darnold, and it was going to be the entire time while they were working on that trade, that we can save $10 million a year from what we were going to pay Geno, and we get 7 years younger. And maybe there's a little bit drop off in talent, but they're pretty comparable in how they play. Let's try to pivot here and do this. And I think that's kind of where things started to change when they knew the numbers weren't close.
Hey, James, how hard do you think decisions like that are? When you look at the Seahawks offense, you had DK at one point. Jay is in. Geno has shown you that he's good enough to get you into the playoffs. Still got to work on the offensive line. Do you think it was a difficult decision to pivot, or did the numbers scare them that much? They're saying, all right, now our backs are against the wall. We just have to do this.
I think as we're watching this play out, and Aaron Rodgers is essentially holding two franchises hostage in the Giants and the Steelers for his services, I think it shows you, if you have a quarterback, you hang on to him in this league, because who knows what could have happened. You could make that trade, and all of a sudden, even though you've kind of know that you can land Sam Darnold, anything's possible until you land him, right? And then you're all of a sudden, what are your options? Like, I don't think Aaron Rodgers, to my understanding, was ever really an option. Russ isn't coming back. Like, are you going to go get Daniel Jones? Like, it is a nerve-wracking experience to try to put yourself through when you have a guy who a lot of people around the league say, if he's protected, I think you guys have seen it. If he has protection, Geno Smith can play, and he can still play, and he can throw the deep ball, and he's put up good numbers, and he completes a lot of balls. When you're completing roughly 70% of your passes every year, you don't really want to get rid of that guy, but you do have to look at it in terms of how you're building your team. And they're not the only ones that pivoted. Like, you see what, the Vikings ended up doing. They were like, you know what, we're going to switch to the rookie quarterback contract, even though we thought Sam Darnold played brilliantly for us this past year. We won 14 games, and guess what? They just went out and spent like crazy to build their team now around a rookie contract. And so you do have to pivot once in a while. I think John's been good at it. The last couple of tries he's had, it probably gives him some confidence. But yeah, I don't think it's something you don't you go to bed easy going, well, we can just move on from a guy who's throwing the ball really well for us the last couple of years.
Is the assumption among national critics, experts, kind of from the outside, that Seattle is like full rebuild then, kind of related to Bump's question about kind of what they're doing? Or do you see it as, no, I think they think Sam Darnold can help them win right now?
Well, John Elway always said this in Denver over the years when he was the general manager. Like, I don't believe in a rebuild. Like, I don't think that's ever something we're a part of. And well, eventually it did have to happen in Denver when they played. I don't know. I don't have the numbers in front of me. 82 quarterbacks since Peyton Manning retired. Like, until they found Bo Nix, but roughly in that range. But I do think that is the mindset of John Schneider and company. I do think you had a rookie head coach win 10 games. I think that's outstanding. I think that the defensive side of the ball is really good. I think Ernest Jones is outstanding. And it was great to bring him back. And so, I think you have one side locked in, and I think now the thinking is this, we got our quarterback. We have him on a Baker Mayfield type deal, which was what everybody thought that Sam Darnold was going to roughly get. which doesn't break the bank on what we want to build around him. Like I mentioned, the Vikings, that's always been their thought process. You build the best team around a quarterback, and you try not to pay a quarterback top dollar. And the Seahawks are in that position now. And now you go, we have these picks in the top 92. What is it, 5? We have a new offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak, which I've talked to you guys about before in the past. Like, he builds his offense a specific way. That style of offense needs a specific type of offensive lineman, in all honesty. All right, now we get to build it all together with our offensive coordinator in mind and in the meetings on how we build this offense. There's some positivity to that. There's some risk. You don't get the guys in the draft, but you do get to build it now with the offensive philosophy in the building.
Yeah, and they're going to have to build it fairly quickly, right? You have to address that offensive line, which you've mentioned and we've mentioned on our show. But another spot is just the wide receiver spot. You got JSN. We got a lot of Jake Bobo fans here in Seattle. Good kid, love him. You got Derek Young as well. Do you see a veteran out there that they should go get? Cooper Kupp has been flashing on our text lines a lot. Or do you think that you go young and you just focus on the draft, or do you do both?
Well, yeah, I think you're looking at all options. We predicted this, that the market on the receivers was going to be slow, right? The guys that are there and available right now, who you mentioned, whether it's Hopkins at 33 or Keenan Allen at 33 or Amari Cooper at 31, all these guys are on that side of 30. I don't know if Cooper Kupp, if your lines are right, like that's pretty similar style of play to JSN, honestly. And I don't know if you have both of those on the field at the same time. You need kind of that replacement on the outside. Now, the part that plays into your favor is the way that Clint runs an offense. Like, I would go back, and if you're a Seahawks fan, watch the first 4 weeks of the season in New Orleans when everybody was healthy and the offensive line was healthy and the receivers were healthy. Those guys were taking shots, and that offense was explosive, putting up a ton of points on the board. Doing what? Running a lot of their plays with 2 receiver sets and going heavy with the tight ends and going in 13 personnel or 12. And so my point is, like, Clint Kubiak doesn't run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. So I think that's in your favor when you're a little bit short at the receiver spot, but I would add in both. I mean, I think you can wait out kind of this receiver group. I mean, like somebody like Stephon Diggs, who I think his rehab is going really, really well. But you're going to want to get your hands on him, right? You're going to want to see him, and you can't take those visits until Wednesday. And so I think you can look at this receiver veteran group and be a little patient with it, and also look in the draft. I'd say the meaty part, the buzz, we're still early in the draft, guys, but like the buzz is there's like 3 guys at the top, and then there's a real chunky middle, as the GM told me. I just wanted to say it that way.
No, I liked it.
There's a very chunky middle to the receiver group, and Seattle's got a lot of picks there.
It's funny. I was literally about to ask, what are you hearing about the draft? Because Seattle's looking at 4 day 2 picks, but that's okay. I will shift gears. What is your expectation?
We can say chunky middle again if you'd like. Yeah,
sure. I'm curious. I know that this is subject to change, so I will not hold you to this, but did your expectations for Seattle season change once they traded DK and Geno?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they definitely do. And I think also you would have had that thought even before that trade, because you're going, all right, here's another offensive system. Here's another change for Geno as we try to figure out what we do offensively. So, I think it definitely changes. I think, like, DK is a very talented player. He really is. Now, I would say this. Like, when I asked around the league about the DK trade, like, there wasn't a single person I talked to, whether it's a GM, assistant GM, whether it's anybody in a decision-making role, 0 said that a first-round pick would be coming back to Seattle. 0. Like, if that doesn't kind of tell you where exactly it stands, then, that tells you exactly where it stands. So everybody said that he's a good player. He's not in that top group of receivers, but can he win one-on-one? Can he stretch the field? Can he be physical? Can he be a difficult cover? Of course. But I don't think he's, like, in that top group of receivers. And so, yeah, you're going to miss him for sure, but I don't think it was Jamar Chase going out the door.
I think everyone feels and thinks that Tyler Lockett is going to end up with the Las Vegas Raiders. What are you hearing? What are you seeing? And how much football do you think Tyler Lockett still has left?
I think Lockett brings so much more than just what he has left on the field, and I think that's valued. And I think that's valued as a veteran receiver, specifically in some rooms that need that. I think he still has something for sure. Is he the same player? Definitely not. But obviously everybody's connecting him to Pete and their relationship, and I can see that because that's a young team looking to change their culture, and it's a team that's looking to find their new identity. Those are the values that I think Tyler also brings and will always bring wherever he's at and whatever he's doing. Still will have something as like a third option probably, but also what he does during the week, Monday through Saturday, I think is still valued by people around the league.
I'm going to step outside of Seattle for the next question, just since we've had so much news break over the last couple days. James, what are one, maybe even two of the most interesting free agent moves or trades to you where you just think, God, I can't wait to see how this unfolds?
I think the Tunsil trade is the one that really kind of threw us all for a loop. I think with Tunsil going to Washington and the trade that went down there, it was kind of something that everybody goes, wait a minute, wasn't Houston's number one goal to protect C.J. Stroud? Right. Like, wasn't that their whole goal? And they're going to move one of the best tackles in football. And doing some digging on that, I figured out what they wanted to do and change things culturally. And the offensive line room was just a bad room in Houston, and they wanted to flip it culturally, leader-wise, identity. They were never going to give him another contract. There's so many different things to all this. And when you see a team like Washington that got to the NFC title game and is looking to protect their young quarterback, they took a big swing. And so I think that's one that really I kind of think surprised me. And then also, nothing against his game, I just wanted to bring this up, that Milton Williams is now the highest paid player in the history of the New England Patriots. Is a fascinating, I think, sentence we didn't think we'd say, that like his 26 per year beats Tom Brady's best contract there. Milton Williams is now the highest paid player in Patriots history, and they had to pay that to get him with where they're at right now. But I think that one was pretty fascinating too, because he almost went to Carolina.
That's wild. All right, give me a second to ask this question, okay? So just tell me what you think about this. Defense, C.J. Mosley, Quincy Williams, Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner. Offense, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, and at quarterback, Justin Fields. Do you see any scenario where Justin Fields goes to the Jets and has the type of season that has people looking at him the same way we do Sam Darnold after that 1 year with the Vikings?
I don't think it's to that extent. I think Kevin O'Connell plays a massive role in that. I think Garrett Wilson's an outstanding receiver, but you're right. Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson are on another level together. I think this is a great deal for the Jets, and it's a great deal for Justin. I think for the first time in a long time, I almost quoted Frozen, but for the first time in a long time, Justin Fields has some stability, and he is walking in as the guy, and he has an opportunity in a team that was really kind of punting on the quarterback position this year to go and really just call it his own, and a chance for the Jets to go, what if this hits? Great. That's awesome. We're paying $20 million over 2 years. $20 million a year for 2 years. That's great. And Justin has an opportunity to prove himself. I don't know if it turns out like Sam Darnold. Obviously, for Justin's sake, he'd love it, and so would the Jets. But I think this is an ability to kind of reset the organization with making this move at Fields, where you're also not punting the season entirely, but financially you're not spending on the quarterback position, and you're not connecting yourself anything further than next year. And you look at yourself being involved in a quarterback class in 2026 that could be pretty dang good, actually.
I know Russell Wilson isn't a Seahawk anymore, clearly, but I think a lot of people locally are always a little curious to see what he's doing. What are you seeing about where he could land?
It might be tough. It really might be tough, because he is directly tied right now as we speak to Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers is debating between the Giants and the Steelers, to my understanding. He's having conversations with both organizations. I think what the Giants have done over the last 36 hours has made them maybe much closer to the Steelers in terms of talent-wise than maybe they were a week ago. But if he ends up going to New York, he ends up going to Pittsburgh, I think Russ ends up going to New York. And if he ends up going to New York, Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if Russ goes back to Pittsburgh. It would almost have to be like Mike Tomlin and company having to say, hey, Russ, I know you're our third option at quarterback, but would you want to come back? You know what I mean? And he does still talk to DK regularly, to my understanding. So I don't think it'd be like, knowing Russ, I don't think he'd be opposed to going back there because, honestly, if he doesn't go back to Pittsburgh, and this is just that scenario if Rodgers goes to New York, I don't know where he goes. I really don't, because the Titans don't have any interest, to my understanding. The Browns just made the Kenny Pickett trade. They're kind of waiting on Kirk Cousins, too. Like, now you're out of spots. And so I don't know where Russ goes, honestly, if Aaron Rodgers goes to New York and he doesn't go back to Pittsburgh.
Man, such a weird place for Russell to be at this point in his career. But, it's all what's available in circumstance, especially at the quarterback spot. Last one I got for you. I just want to look at the draft. Do you think Cam goes number 1? Does he go to Tennessee? I'm a Coug, so I have a special place in my heart for Cam Ward. What do you see with him?
Yeah, post-combine, Cam has separated himself from the pack big time. It used to be him and Shador in Tier 1. It is now Cam Ward all alone in Tier 1. It's not that Shador's fell that far. It's that some other quarterbacks have caught up to Shador, and Cam has separated himself. Whoever's picking 1, I'll say it that way. Whoever's picking 1 is most likely picking Cam Ward. I'm not saying that will be the Tennessee Titans. But I think if the Titans move out of 1, they probably don't go further than 3 and say that's the Giants that move up and take him at 1, or the Browns feel like they got to flip and go up 1 spot and take him at 1. But I think there's a very good chance Cam Ward goes 1. There's really only 2 blue chip players in this whole draft, which is rare, in Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. And after that, that's it. And then there's 1 quarterback. So it's a weird draft at the top. A lot of starters in the draft. Day 2, a lot of starters in the draft for second, third, fourth rounds. But at the top of the draft, it's slim pickings. I'm not sure if the Titans are going to pull the trigger on Cam. I'm not sure if they do. I think they'd love to drop down, but the haul was not going to be this year what it would be in other years past for that number 1 pick. It just won't be. So my thought is he's still going 1, but I'm not entirely sure the Titans are the one making the pick.
Bleacher Report and Underdog Fantasy NFL insider James Palmer. Follow him at James Palmer TV on X.com. Thanks, James.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy.
Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, Mitch Garver left Monday's Mariners game after taking a pitch off of his hand. X-rays are negative. That's what Ryan Divish is reporting. What's the real headline?
What's it say about the Mariners offense when the potential absence of a 172 hitter is causing panic?
You got the wrong Mitch. All right, he's 8 for 18 in the
I'm
Cactus
talking
League.
2024 Mitch is my problem.
He's got 3 bombs, 6 RBIs, OPS and over 1,000.
Yeah, Mitch Ruth.
No, this hurts though, because you need him to be healthy. You need him to be healthy. You need Kirby to be healthy. You need Cal. All the guys who are expected to take a jump in their performance, you need to see it. So what does this do? We're waiting on the MRI, right? We don't know for sure yet what happened, but this sets him back. Say he does have a fracture in his hand or something like that. This sets him back. Who are you going to pull up? I hear Harry Ford went yard the other day. Emerson has been having I think it was Emerson, having a good spring training. There's just so much that you have to do if something like this goes wrong, and the pieces that you would have to move don't get you too excited because you know that it's going to be developmental.
Have you guys, I'll ask both you, Bump, and you, Curtis, if I said, like, oh, no, you can, like, maybe Mitch has a bounce-back season, and maybe this is kind of a little more of what we were seeing, and I know that Bump's, like, half joking about the stats, but would you actually buy, like, yeah, maybe it could happen, or have you kind of jumped that ship?
It could. Anything could happen.
I mean, it's harder to be any worse than he was last year. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. It was so bad for him last season. Just give me like a 200 batting average, 15 to 20 home runs. I'll take that out of a backup catcher.
When the Mendoza line is a step up.
Yeah, exactly. A significant one, too.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, the 49ers are cutting 9-time Pro Bowl fullback Kyle Juszczyk. What's the real headline?
I can think of a team that needs a fullback.
Yes, that would make me so happy to see a fullback, to see a number 40-something in the backfield with his hand in the dirt, and he knows he's not getting the football. I'm gonna light up number 53, smoking a cigarette at halftime,
Dangling
drinking
out
a
of his
beer
mouth.
after the game. Give me an old school fullback. Oh, but in reality, man, Juszczyk is a good ball player. I wonder why they're letting players go with the Niners, because they got to pay Brock Purdy.
Yes.
It's everyone's gone. Ward is gone. Ufunga's gone. Greenlaw gone. Juszczyk now. 49ers fans are going crazy, but I would love, and this offense needs a fullback. I would try it out. That would be a really Seattle thing to do, though, is to pick up Juszczyk from the 49ers. His age doesn't really concern me because of what you're asking fullbacks to do. It's not like you need them to be really explosive down the field. Take a look at him. Kick the tires. Either way, you need a fullback in his offense.
I was literally about to read you Adam Schefter's list of all those moves. You ended up knowing them already. They have a couple free agents that they haven't re-signed or that have left elsewhere in free agency too. Are they in a rebuild, or are they just kind of making room to pay Brock Purdy a lot of money?
I think they're making room because you're still going to have George Kittle. Brandon Ayuk says he wants out. We shall see with that.
Yeah.
He's still got Fred Warner over there. There's still some pieces. I think Hargrave might be on his way out too. We're hearing about that.
I think he might already be.
Right?
I think he signed elsewhere.
I think he did. You're right. I think you're right.
I forget where.
If I'm Salah, I'm looking at the situation probably the same way Kubiak was looking at the situation here. Like, man, I thought I was getting Geno and DK and all these guys, but this is the NFL. You have to pay your quarterback. I heard an interesting conversation on the radio today. They were asking if Sam Darnold will have the better year or if Brock Purdy will have the better year. And I think that you have to lean towards Brock Purdy right now, but we've also seen what he looks like when he doesn't have all of his pieces out there. Not a knock on him. That's just the game of football. Unless you are one of the top 3 or 4 in the game, you need some help. So this is going to be interesting. I'm here for it for the Niners. The Rams look like they're getting good, though, or continuing to be good. And Arizona's making moves, too. NFC West is funny.
Weird division.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, Yankees ace Garrett Cole will miss the 2025 season with Tommy John surgery. What's the real headline?
God, imagine the same thing happening to the Mariners. That's why you need to spend.
That's why. Throw some money at it. Sometimes you just need to do that. You miss one guy in this rotation, and we feel a bit different about the possibilities of making the playoffs. Is there a way where there's a young guy who's elevated and he does his thing? Yeah, for sure. But we saw what all these guys looked like when they were young, right? When Wu was a young, and he's still young. Miller, when he was young. You have your moments where you shine. Miller, you come in to Oakland and light him up in front of 25 people, and then the next time we see him, he looks like a rook. So there are some things that you have to deal with. You have to be lucky as an organization. The Yankees have not been that so far, and it looks like the Mariners either. You got Kirby, who's banged up, should be fine. You got Mitch.
What's it actually mean, Curtis, for the Yankees? Like, they're obviously a team that's stacked. They have a ton of talent, but I don't know a ton about their pitching depth outside of main names.
Cole's out for the season. Luis Gil, who was Rookie of the Year last year in the American League, he's going to be out for the first 3 months. He went 15-7, so the Yankees' top 2 starting pitchers going to be out to at least for the start of the season, if not, well, in Garrett Cole's case, much longer. But they did sign Max Fried from the Braves. I believe they gave him the highest contract ever for a lefty. So he's got top of the rotation stuff. Carlos Rodon's there. Clark Schmidt's there. Marcus Stroman has been beefing with the Yankees front office for a little bit. Who knows if he's going to have a bounce back season. So it's not like this will tank the Yankees season, but all of a sudden that pitching depth is going to be put to the test.
AL becomes more interesting. Daniel Jones has a new home. The Eagles make a big trade, and a Seahawks signs with another team. It's all coming your way next on Bump and Stacy.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk. Weekdays 6 to 10.
DK Metcalf traded, Geno Smith traded. I will say I love this. I really do. The goal isn't to build a good team. The goal is to build a great team. And that is going to take some risk.
You feel like you're just stuck in the middle. You just don't want to be stuck. We're in the business of doing what's best for the organization. And these moves this weekend were ultimately what was best for the organization.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
No football for me means I'm ready for an escape, and since my weekends are free, I'm looking for something fun, relaxing, with some entertainment built in. I got just a place for you, Silver Reef Casino Resort. They got a hotel. They have a spa. They also have multiple restaurants, including the best steakhouse north of Seattle and the brand new The Cantina. Concerts and events, they got you covered there too. But hold up, I like this one. They have golf, so when the weather gets better, I'm going to get back out there. I'll get back out there now, man. It's all systems go for Silver Reef Casino Resort. Don't tell me it's too far. You spend a lot of time in traffic during the weekend or even in the mornings. Hop on I-5 North and you are basically there. You can even fill up. They have some of the cheapest gas prices you will see all year. Join Reef Rewards for free and you'll get 10% off at the resort. Don't wait. Visit Silver Reef Casino Resort, silverreefcasino.com to book your stay. There's something for everyone at Silver Reef Casino.
Did you know that your windows and doors are your main source of energy loss? At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, our windows with triple weather stripping and gasket seals are up to 25% more efficient than Energy Star standards. LakeWashingtonWindows.com, a name you can trust.
Getting engaged? At Shane Company, dream engagement rings are our specialty. We have the most beautiful natural and lab-grown diamonds, hand-picked in every price range, ready to compare side by side. Shop online at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Hey guys, did you know that half of men over age 50 have erectile dysfunction on some level? Whether you have mild, moderate, or severe ED, West Coast Men's Health can help. We don't prescribe pills and hope they work. Instead, we treat the root cause of the problem with acoustic wave therapy, which breaks down plaque, unclogs arteries, and restores blood flow. We have treated thousands of men across our 11 locations nationwide and have established ourselves as a leader in the industry. So whether you have ED, Peyronie's disease, or suffer from chronic pain, such as neuropathy, carpal tunnel, or Dupuytren's contracture, West Coast Men's Health can help. No pills, no shots, no surgery, just results.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call West Coast Men's Health at 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets elegance. It's Mike Salk here, and this summer you can experience breathtaking Cascade views, world-class dining, and of course the best entertainment. Elevate your next getaway by combining effortless style with the utmost in relaxation. The hotel opens this summer with deluxe king and 2 queen rooms, premiums, grand suites, signature suites, and the breathtaking views of the Cascades and the Snoqualmie Valley. For more details, go to snocasino.com Quantum.com, Seattle's closest, is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Taking a look around the NFL, we're going to start with the quarterback situation in Indianapolis, which just added another name. Former Giants and Vikings quarterback Daniel Jones is finalizing a one-year, $14 million deal to play for the Colts. That's from ESPN's Adam Schefter, reported that this morning. Jones and Anthony Richardson bump, it sounds like an open competition.
It should be open. It should be open. Anthony Richardson, we knew that the Colts were reaching at that number 4 pick with Anthony Richardson. They were enamored by his athletic ability. That's easy to do when you watch him throw in shirts and shorts, and you just turn on the film, but you see his decision-making has not been great. Wasn't in college, has been great so far. This might be the key. I heard Shannon Sharpe on ESPN this morning say that he's spoken to people over there with the Colts, and they believe that Anthony Richardson understands now what is needed to be an NFL quarterback. You better figure it out quickly, because Daniel Jones, say what you want about him, has shown he can put together a couple years, a couple games, and make your team competitive. And that's all the Colts want to be right now, is competitive. No one's expecting them to win the division. Or maybe, man, the Texans. We'll see what happens over there. Right, same division, right?
Yeah.
But expectations are low. Bringing some competition. $14 million for Daniel Jones is perfect.
Daniel Jones leaves the Vikings. Sam Darnold leaves the Vikings. The Vikings are now left with one, obvious starter, J.J. McCarthy, under contract. They still have Brett Rippon, but Brett Rippon is very clearly just like a backup depth piece. He was 4th on that depth. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy, he's going to be the guy for the Vikings. This was such a successful, really promising, encouraging quarterback class. You saw several guys. I mean, one of them was Offensive Rookie of the Year. You saw Caleb kind of come into his own as the season progressed, and the Bears have added a ton around him. You saw Bo really start to make a name for himself. Michael Penix Jr. even made an imprint by the end of the season. Does JJ face kind of an uphill battle, a lot of expectation?
And then you throw in Sam Darnold having the year that he had. Of course, I think it is an uphill battle, but they feel confident about this situation. I mean, we spoke to the one of the voices over there with Minnesota, and they felt this was going to happen regardless of what Sam Darnold did. When you invest a first-round pick in a quarterback, you allow him to grow. That was almost best-case scenario. With Sam Darnold going over there and allowing J.J. McCarthy to sit back and watch and develop, it might benefit him. It for sure is going to benefit him, but how much? Here's what's going to help him: that offense, those weapons. I expect him to have a decent year, but not 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and 4,000 yards.
Next up, going to L.A., Devontae Adams is a Ram, and Puka Nacua is doing him a solid, changing his jersey number from 17 to 12, which is the number he wore with BYU, to make room for Adams to have his number 17. Here's my thing. Puka, you seem like a really nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be charging for that.
Oh, yeah, he's getting something.
Right?
He's getting something. I don't think they're going to release it. It might not even be money. It might be something else. I don't know what type of connection Devontae has. He has a deal with Taco Bell. Maybe it's Taco Bell for life. I don't know what's going on. But he is being compensated for sure. But that's what you do for the OG.
Yeah.
I mean, Devontae Adams is one of the best receivers to ever do this. Puka, way to be a great young man, but I hope your pockets are getting filled or you're getting something out of this deal.
Would you give up your number for Taco Bell for life?
No. Taco Bell ruins my stomach.
What's something for life?
Golf.
Free golf for life?
Let me go to your country club. As long as you're a member there, let me go play.
What about a food place?
Food place?
It has to be a food place.
It has to be a food place, and we talking Ascend. You know what I'm saying?
But now you're going upscale.
Yeah, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right.
I was sitting at, McDonald's? Next up. The Eagles make a trade. They're sending cornerback C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Texans for offensive lineman Kenyon Green. The Eagles, I don't want to say offloading. This would be obviously a trade, but then also lost Sweat in free agency, losing some pieces on defense.
Man, CJ's like, I just came back, and you're already letting me go again. I spent, a year with the Lions, and now I'm back here, help you win a Super Bowl. But I feel like if you're C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you're okay with this move because you've accomplished everything there is to accomplish with that organization. But you know this, when you lose Josh Sweat, you are the Philadelphia Eagles, you have to try and make things right. And then you added, oh no, I'm sorry, reading your next sec. I saw your text going on and jacked me up. No, you have to, I'm sorry, it changed my whole thought process. Not Josh Sweat, I'm talking about the offensive line. So what's happened is Stacy is typing on the show sheet and it attracted my eyes and I go, they didn't get Allen? They didn't get Will Fryer?
No, I was adding in details
Stop talking to me. Go on to the next one.
Next one, Minnesota. as adding to the trenches on either side. They are signing former Commanders defensive tackle Jonathan Allen to a 3-year deal, and also this one really catching a lot of Seahawks fans' eyes this morning. Sign guard Will Fries. It's $18 million per for Will. I'm going to start with Will for this one. Does that seem like a deal you would have really liked to see Seattle make?
Of course, especially when our guys have $62 million in cap space, the most in the NFL at this point. You want them to make a move like that. $18 million for Fries. Becton is anticipated to go for about $10 to $12 million. You have space to make a room. Yes, I would love for them to do that. Minnesota, we know that they had offensive line issues over there as well, so they're getting a guard, getting better on defense. Minnesota's saying, look, we're going to support our rookie quarterback the best we can.
I know. I mean, who knows what happens with Will Fries? Maybe that ends up being a bad signing for Minnesota. I have no idea, but I'm just thinking back to that cut from the John Schneider show back in February of John saying, we don't just want to throw money at a problem. And I'm thinking, like, you know, with the cap space you freed up, John, I don't know that it's like the most money ever to throw. Like, I'm pretty eager to see a plug-and-play solid starter at guard. I'm just like, I don't want to put all my faith in whoever you draft, whoever you sign in a third wave of free agency. Like, I'd love to have faith that someone coming in was a starter the previous season the whole time. Not
nice.
A swing tackle, not a promising backup, and certainly not a rookie. Like, I would just love to see it.
Someone established. Someone with just a hint of gray in their beard. Like, look, I'm old enough to get grays, but I'm young enough to where I don't need to dye my beard
like
yet.
Like a Laken Tomlinson if it was like a couple years prior. Next up, the Dolphins have their new backup quarterback for Tua Tagovailoa. It's your boy, Zach Wilson, signing with Miami on a 1-year deal.
Let's go. First-round quarterbacks will live as long as they want to in the NFL because there's always that what if. What if? Well, he knows this offense. He's been around a bunch of coordinators. Let's just keep him around. And if I'm a backup quarterback who was a former first-round pick, 3rd overall, I believe Zach Wilson was, I'm good with that life. I'm good with that life.
I think Zach Wilson was 2nd.
Really?
I think so.
Man.
Curtis, do you know Zach Wilson 2nd or 3rd?
I think he was 2nd
2.
overall, yeah.
Man.
Who was 1st that year?
Is that Trevor Lawrence?
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
2020 class?
21.
21. Who's the most? I have 2 answers to this, and Curtis answers well if you have one. But who's your most? Oh my God, I can't believe this guy's still finding backup jobs in the league quarterback. Like a guy that was a starter that just bounced around to a million places, and you were like, this dude?
Andy Dalton.
Yes, that is a great answer.
Still in it.
A great answer. Mine was initially Nathan Peterman, and then I thought Bortles or Ponder.
Yeah.
Where it was like they would just constantly pop up and you'd be like, oh, yeah. Curtis, do you have one?
Mitch Trubisky's one.
Mitch.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll be 2030. They'll be like Mitch Trubisky joining the Steelers again.
I saw Josh Dobbs got a job with the Patriots, too, recently.
Yes.
I think he's retired in the last couple of years, but Matt Barkley was another one where it was like, holy cow, this guy's still kicking around. I think he was like Buffalo's backup for a long time.
Yeah.
Who is the guy who we were all mispronouncing his name the whole time? Tyrod Taylor. He's another one.
Yeah.
Najee Harris is signing a 1-year deal with the Chargers. I didn't realize Najee Harris was so consistent. Someone posted 17 games. I was like, oh my God.
Never missed a game.
So impressive.
1,000 yards a year. About minimum 6 touchdowns. Really going to go for 8 or 7. Also has 1,100 receiving, 6 touchdowns receiving. He is the definition of running backs being underappreciated. Like those numbers aren't going to wow you, but you pay for consistency. You know how much he's getting over there?
No. Curtis, do you know offhand Najee Harris?
It was like $5 million, but could go up to about 9 based off.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
Good for you, Najee.
I've always liked Najee Harris.
Yeah, he's got a great personality.
Well, and you wonder, like, the Steelers' offensive line was not great. You know, I mean, it was part of the conversation people were having with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Like, are we seeing the pure picture of what they could look like, or is it them? Which was also a fair question, whether or not it was the quarterbacks. But that offensive line was kind of up and down all year long. So curious to see what Najee looks like with the team. Granted, Chargers need a lot more weapons for Herbert, so still going to be loading up there. All right, taking your calls, opening phone lines at 1 p.m. You're listening to Bump and Stacy. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Weekdays 2 to 7.
Your two most prominent players on offense said, I want out of here.
If you ask the texters, they would say both of them have attitude problems.
We'll see what Geno signs for. If he signs for somewhere in around 40 to 45, what does that say about how he felt about Seattle?
You got to put a lot of faith in John Schneider and Mike McDonald. John said, we're not going to do anything that hurts the team. The team is number one, the player is number two.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Well, with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. Xfinity built a network that's 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile has Wi-Fi Power Boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. Get the same reliable network in the places you need the most. The coffee shop, the grocery store, or the game. All to power more of what you love, whether you're a gamer, streaming, or work from home. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity Internet and Mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Plus, ask how to get a free premium 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G, Internet plus one unlimited welcome line, and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. Adults ages 18 to 65 and older are invited to try out for the PSSBL this Sunday, March 16th at Hogan Park at Russell Road in Kent. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-Little Leaguers to high school and even former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
Swedish Cyberknife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. The treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish Cyberknife the highest of rankings. Swedish.org/Cyberknife Prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
4 down territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
I just had Asset Roofing come out and do a full inspection on my roof because I wanted to be proactive and handle any small problems before they became big problems, and they were extremely professional with their communication and recommendations. You really need an expert on your side, and Asset Roofing is on mine. Allow them to work for you too. You can find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
The madness tips off next week, and with it comes your chance to win the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks, presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
I've always said, the car sales in the 1980s and 1990s, earned the rep that we have today. The concerns that consumers have because of what has happened in our industry in the past, they're warranted. It's our job to show them that that's not how business is done anymore, right? It's very different business. It's much more transparent. There's much more information that's available to people. And we're much more customer focused than I think the car industry was, 20, 30 years ago. I'm more focused on providing good customer service and relationships, because I think if you take care of people, money will always come. So I think just the philosophy and the focus for us has changed, where I was constantly chasing a paycheck, and now I'm just constantly trying to take care of customers and employees, because I know if I do that, then my paycheck will take care of itself.
The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Coming up in 15 minutes, opening up phone lines. Your caller question, all these Seahawks moves. Geno traded, DK traded, Tyler Lockett released. What's going on? Make me feel blank. Angry? Excited? Optimistic? Confused?
Yeah.
You got a lot of choices.
There's a lot out there.
All these Seahawks moves make me feel blank. That's going to be your caller question coming up at 1. That number is going to be 866-979-3776. Don't call now. Matt's going to have to answer and be really upset. Or he'll just not answer you at all. He'll probably do that. Before we get to the caller question, I wanted to get back to one thing that stood out from our conversation with James Palmer. He joined us to start the hour. If you guys missed that interview, it's a good one. Go listen to it on the Bump and Stacy podcast posted after the show concludes around 3 p.m. He said of Geno Smith, I don't know that I ever heard Schneider talk about Geno the way Pete did. And that resonated with me in part because I listened to the new Mina Kimes show this morning, and she had on Jackson Bevins and Danny Kelly, and it was a great listen, and they talked.
Jackson made it to Mina?
Jackson, he's been on Mina before.
Let's go.
Yeah. So Danny, Jackson, and Mina were talking mostly about these moves, all three being Seahawks fans. And Danny said, it's just clear John didn't believe in Geno. And it was how I felt about the trade, where I was like, if you believe Geno Smith could take you to a Super Bowl, he'd be here. It wouldn't matter the number. It wouldn't matter his age. You would just say, I know in my gut that this can get us there. Clearly, John didn't believe that.
I think there might be a little truth to that, but I also think they're looking to add, and you needed some cap space to do that. And what Geno was asking for wasn't going to allow that much wiggle. Now, it wasn't like they was going to be poor after this, right? Because DK is no longer there. You have about $62 million in cap space right now. So let's say, all right, instead of 62, they have like $52 to $47 million. I think that the message that Mike McDonald put out about Geno, it has to be in unison with John Schneider, right? What did Mike McDonald say? He's our guy. He's our guy. He's our guy. I think that number came out, and then they go, I don't know, he should be our guy. That's a lot. We were expecting 35 to 40 million. You want 40 to 45. I think that there is hesitation with any quarterback unless you are consistently in the conference championship or you have a year like the Commanders had with a young guy who made a run at it. And Geno just hadn't shown the organization that. He also needed an offensive line help with some other things to go down. But Jaden Daniels elevated the Commanders. With an offensive line that wasn't great, with a defense that was okay, he elevated them. And because he's young and he did that, you're able to invest more and say, all right, we're going to ride this thing out. Granted, he's a rookie, so you're going to write it out. He's for cheap right now. But Geno just didn't have that type of effect on the organization, I think. So I think he believed in him, but I also thought John Schneider's thinking there's a lot of things that I need to do to give whoever is the quarterback the best opportunity to have success, and that involves money. We need money. So now, if you don't go spin, though,
then what was
I
it
might
for?
lean into you and be like, all right, well, maybe he just thought that he wasn't the guy.
Yeah, and for the record, I think that Geno gave the Seahawks their best chance to win. I am not John Schneider. I'm not a GM. I think that Geno is like just outside the top 10, probably. And I mean, of all quarterbacks, this includes guys that are very clearly elite. So it's not an insult to Geno that he's not the same as Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, whatever. I think that he gave them their best chance to win, and I think he's getting kind of a raw deal because part of the story that will always be told about him may ignore the context of a bad offensive line, a first-time OC, all this other stuff. But I don't know what option John can turn to. Jaden Daniels, you're right, elevates Washington, and it was electric to watch him this year. He's a former number 2 overall pick.
Yeah.
Seattle doesn't have that capital. Ironically, Sam Darnold, a number 3 overall pick previously, but not the same player as Jaden Daniels, has not proven that he can be that player with the exception of a great year last season. But is it an outlier? Is it the sign of growth? I don't know. Right now, it feels like Sam Darnold will be a downgrade from Geno by virtue only of Geno having at least had a 3-year track record and Darnold having 1. And maybe that's very unfair. I know that I may be wrong. I'm basing this on a tiny sample size.
That's all you got, though.
Yeah.
You have 1 year from Sam. You got 3 from Geno. I agree. I think in the Kubiak offense, most quarterbacks have a better opportunity to be successful in this league. In the Grubb offense, you needed a veteran to hold it down and make great decisions and be a warrior out there, which is how we've heard the organization describe Geno. No, I'm with you. I think when you look at Sam Darnold, you compare him to Geno, it's the age and it's the cost for that young man. Yeah. And he's 27, and Kubiak is probably looking at him and saying, I can teach him more. I can show him how to be effective. I can show him how to be responsible with the football, and we're going to do it for cheap. Age has a lot to do with it. It's messed up, but it is what it is, even though I would compare Geno to a 30-year-old, not a 34-year-old, because he didn't play that much. But this move allows you to at least have the space to go and get a great offensive line, maybe some other pieces, a good wideout. Now they just have to do it. And do they see someone out there that they value like that? Becton is the guy. He's the only one left, I feel like, that is worth that top dollar. If they don't get him, then you're going to get some, like I said, there's Will Anderson who's still out there. You have Reiser who's there as well. You can get some decent guys, but Becton showed you that he can play multiple positions and help you win a championship. Those are the type of guys you need on the offensive line.
Ben Leber, who's the Vikings radio analyst on with us earlier, said that he saw Geno as kind of he saw Sam Darnold as kind of a bridge quarterback, but it was because of the context in which the Vikings signed Sam. They had already drafted J.J. McCarthy, or were planning to. They clearly were going to draft a quarterback, and they brought in Sam on a 1-year deal. He outperforms the contract. We all know the story. The context for Seattle is slightly different, where I can't tell. I can't tell if John looks at Sam and says, this is going to be my bridge and is going to keep us winning, but it's going to be a cheaper option than Geno, or if he looks at Sam and says, I'm not going to get a number 2 pick to get a quarterback. I got to make this my guy. I cannot tell.
I think he's looking at it and saying, we'll see. He's got a year. He's cheaper. He's 27. Our defense is going to be better this year. I'm going to make some moves on the offensive line. I don't need a super veteran that's 30-plus years of age that I'm going to pay $40 to $45 million. And I don't think it's just him making that decision. I think he's talking to Mike McDonald. I think he's talking to other people on the staff to get an idea of what they think the talent on this team can be if they were to add some other pieces. It's a to-be-determined situation, I think, when John Schneider looks at Sam Darnold.
Last 30 seconds before we move on to more of a Seahawks conversation. We're not going to take long at all to talk about whether it's going to work out for the Raiders. Do you think it will?
No.
Really?
No. You're in. Look at the division you're in.
Yeah, that's
You need
true.
Geno to do something that we haven't seen yet. Even if he duplicates his best year, 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions or something like that, that's not going to be enough. And it's not just him. It's the pieces that you have around him as well. Tyler Lockett is not going to be enough to be a number 1. Now you got Jacoby Myers over there, and Tyler's not even there yet. We don't know. But you still got Myers over there. You have Brock Bowers. You got Max Crosby. But it's what you don't have in that division that you are in. It's going to be enough. Geno is the bridge of all bridges. He is the Golden State Bridge. He is the bridge.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to keep them afloat until they get somebody.
I call it the Full House Bridge.
The Full House Bridge.
It's the Full House Bridge. You know
when I
that
say
one.
Golden State, Golden Gates.
Golden Gate
Golden Gate
Whatever,
Bridge.
it doesn't matter. All these Seahawks moves make me feel what? You got a lot of possible answers here. Call now, 866-979-3776, 866-979-3776. Call now.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Your two most prominent players on offense said, I want out of here.
If you ask the texters, they would say both of them have attitude problems.
We'll see what Geno signs for. If he signs for somewhere in around 40 to 45, what does that say about how he felt about Seattle?
You got to put a lot of faith in John Schneider and Mike McDonald. John said, we're not going to do anything that hurts the team. The team is number one. The player is number two.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
When you partner with CDW, your people get more out of technology. CDW AI architects deliver Microsoft services to automate tasks and boost productivity, helping sales reps connect with more customers, remote teams collaborate seamlessly, and small businesses compete at scale. That's amazing. Make amazing happen. Microsoft and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/modernwork.
When it comes to great deals on tax prep, Jackson Hewitt isn't holding back, and neither is this commercial. Their offer is so big, it has to be said with Reverb, expert tax prep for $149 or less. It's a deal so spectacular, it needs a symphony, some explosions, and a clock ticking, because this offer, $149 or less, ends soon. One expert tax prep for $149 or less. Try Jackson Hewitt today and save. Whew. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity.
So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus one unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Hey, it's me, second base at T-Mobile Park. In my view, it's pretty sweet. I can see the big dumper flashing his platinum glove, firing a perfect throw right at me. Here comes the tag. Oh, got him.
Another strike him out, throw him out for Cal Raleigh.
Then there's Julio, stomping on me on his way to a stand-up triple. That dude is unreal.
Swinging a line drive, Julio round to third with a 2-out, 3-run triple.
And JP, smooth as silk, snaring line drives out of thin air.
And he takes a hit away!
Come check it out for yourself. There's nothing like being this close to the action. Although I'm still waiting to get invited to the wind dance. A base can dream. Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
Mariners opening day is on deck. Don't miss the festivities at T-Mobile Park on March 27th, including a ceremonial first pitch from Hall of Famer Ichiro. The fun continues all week with Randy Arozarena Cross-Armed Hoodie Night March 28th and a Julio Bat Flip Bobble Giveaway March 31st to April 2nd. Lock in your seats today at mariners.com.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Jason Rance here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn from Nunn Better Tax Resolution. So, Greg, not all tax resolution companies are the same. There are some that are definitely not local. There are others that don't quite know what they're doing even.
Well, I tell you, these ads that all of us hear, Fresh Start program.
They make you feel like, hey, man, I can just easy peasy get my taxes written off. No. And I've had several clients actually come to me after going through that process, and they just get no response after a while. They're passed around from person to person. That doesn't happen at my firm.
You are familiar with the cases that come in. You're working on them.
I'm familiar with every case that comes into our office, and I know what's going on and have the ability to really advise our taxpayers very well on what to do.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, then call Greg Nunn. Nunn Better Tax Resolution, from stress to success with IRS Solutions. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN. Nunn Better Tax Resolution.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Tiger Woods announced he ruptured his Achilles as he was ramping up his golf activities ahead of the Masters. He underwent surgery this morning to repair the tendon and is recovering bump. I'm sorry. I know. X-rays came back negative on Mitch Garver's hand per Ryan Divish. That's good. Team doctors will evaluate Garver on Wednesday to see if he needs a CT scan, but the Mariners think they've avoided a major injury.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. All these Seahawks moves make me feel blank. There's a lot of moves to think about.
Tiger was rupturing his Achilles before the Masters. Makes me feel like I don't want to watch anymore.
You will.
I will, but I feel like I don't want to watch anymore.
Bump, I'm sorry
Ridiculous.
that I ruined your day.
How did I not see that?
I put that on the show sheet, and
You knew that
Bump
this
was
would
gonna
happen.
have this reaction.
You put that on there so that Bump would have this reaction.
You should have seen. I looked at him and the joy on his face watching me react.
I'm not happy that Tiger is out of the Masters because that's a big reason
You're
why
a
I would
creator
watch.
of chaos.
But yeah,
is what you are.
yes, exactly.
All right, I'm sorry.
Can I move on now?
Yes. Thank you for letting me vent.
All these Seahawks moves make me feel blank. Geno Smith traded. DK Metcalf traded. Tyler Lockett released. Is this team in a rebuild? Are they trying to compete this year? They brought in Sam Darnold. He's a veteran they still paid money to. A lot to think about. All these Seahawks moves make me feel. Let's start with Mike and Langley. Mike, how are you feeling?
Pretty good, you guys. I really like the idea of freeing up the cap space, getting the draft picks. But the Seahawks' next, move forward needs to be to win the divisions, and to win the divisions, they got to beat the Rams, and so I am, really unimpressed with Sam Darnold pickup. I was kind of hoping for, let the young guys duke it out as far as Sam Howell, cheaper guys, and invest in a horrible O-line, invest in I think still a pretty thin D-line that has not proven to have a decent pass rush. And I think the linebackers need to have, more depth in everything. And if you look at what Darnold did last year, he got, in the playoffs, or let's say in the division game, he got worked by Detroit, and he looked totally clueless by the Rams. He's going to be playing the Rams. And yesterday on the Dave and Bob show there, that the interviewee that they had, Pete Burcich, was talking about. He kind of blamed that his Darnold's late season fall off with the accumulated wear and tear of 48 sacks. Geno took 50 sacks, and the big news today is Seattle signs a guy named Josh Jones, a Baltimore backup with a sub-50 Baltimore backup offensive line guy
Mike,
with sub-50 grading.
Mike, I'm gonna cut you off because I got to get to some other callers. But we are going to talk about some of your stuff. Your main point, though, is look, they're not going anywhere until they rebuild the trenches, build up that O-line, and you're disappointed by the Darnold signing because you didn't like him against the Rams. He's got to play the Rams twice, and you wanted to see like Sam Howell duke it out. Yes.
Pretty close.
Okay.
But yeah, I just don't think. And again, they have all these draft picks, but I don't think it's time to be complacent on either the D line or the linebackers. They don't have a lot of depth there.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Bump.
Mike, I'm gonna call you Michael. Mike, completely disagree with letting Sam Howell duke it out. If they were confident in Sam Howell, Sam Darnold wouldn't even been a conversation. So the fact that you're willing to risk wasting a defense that showed that they can be a top 10 defense, wasting D Spoon's year for Sam Howell to duke it out. That's the thing. You could have thrown Russell Wilson in there. You could have thrown Kirk Cousins in there. I still would have thought that you were a little off, but Sam Howell duking it out because you don't believe in what Sam Darnold did. You don't have to believe it 100%, but the 1 year that Sam Darnold had was better than the 1 year that Sam Howell had, and he was here all season and didn't sniff the field. I just can't disagree even more with that.
Let's go to Scott in Redmond. Scott, all these Seahawks moves are having you feeling what?
A little bit excited, and optimistic. Let's just say Mike McDonald came in here as defense coach. So he worked on the defense last year. That was his priority. First-time coach. But I think whether you're going on offense, you got to remember, Darnold was in the Kubiak system in San Francisco, I believe, if my information is correct. So he's already know what's going on. But the one thing I love is running the football. Time of possession wins games 9 times out of 10. If you got the ball and the other team can't score, then your defense is on the field, and then if you're ahead, then the other team's got to play right into your strength, which is our pass game. I'm looking at stuff, but the third part of this conversation is we got to hit on our draft picks. I don't want to see any more L.J. Colliers. I don't want to see any more Dale Taylors with our first pick that we have to keep on the roster because you don't want to think. But what I always loved about the Seahawks, you don't want to be here, we trade you. PK didn't want to be here, you're gone. At least he didn't end up anywhere warm. That's the best thing. But I hate to say that, but you understand, Mike. Time of possession. You want that offense on the field. If you can run the ball when you run the ball when you want to, you can move the chains. Seahawks couldn't run the ball sometimes they want to. They had to pass the ball to set up the thing. Now, play action pass is going to set everything up. I think it's a good move. Yes, we got some holes, but we got, 5 picks in the first 92, and we still got money to find that stuff. We might not fill the gaps until everybody starts cutting people because, roster bonuses come up and all that kind of stuff. And then you're going to see, okay, there's that veteran out there. I would have loved to have the center from Atlanta, but Chicago went after him hard. But, there's a budget. You remember John Clayton? He was always good at this time of year. I was always on his show. And John Clayton always knew how much money you could spend per position and be successful. But thank you very much for your time and enjoy your show, and I do listen to it every day.
Thanks, Scott. Scott feeling optimistic, excited about what the identity of the team could become, but also says you got to hit on those draft picks to make it work.
Yeah, he's right. You got to hit on draft picks. You got to go out there and find some veterans. I don't like just depending on rookies to come in and save the day. I love a rookie coming in and being the first guy off the bench or maybe the second or third option, but just asking him to save the day is a lot. So, yeah, I think he's right. You have to hit. You can't have – I'm not going to say the names because I respect them, but you can't have some of the misses you've had.
Yeah. Let's go to Troy and Puyallup. Troy, all these Seahawks moves make you feel what?
It's the U word, unrealistic. I don't know what to say, you guys. I feel like we're just doing the same thing that Sam Darnold did when he was drafted in 2018. We have no receivers. Last I checked, it takes 11 people on the field to make things happen. Who's he going to throw to? And then when he has protection and he has the right pieces, he's proven that he can be capable. But the issue is we've watched year after year for no free agency, as we know, on offensive line. And we are going to rely on the draft. I'm anxious at the same point, too, to see what we're going to do free agent-wise. But are we going to continue the same road for the past decade with this offensive line issues? And then who's he going to throw the ball to? We've obviously got rid of DK. We got rid of Tyler. We're going to do what we did in 2018 when he was with the Jets and just throw into Robbie Chosen and Terrell Pryor. I don't know, you guys. I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
I honestly am frustrated.
Thanks for the call, Troy. Troy, our first kind of, I don't even want to say negative. I mean, it's just honestly how Troy feels. He feels unfulfilled, feels like the idea that this is great could be an unrealistic one.
Well, I think I would just ask him to sit tight because there's still moves that can be made. I understand looking at the team right now and saying, all we got is JSN. Offensive line isn't where we need to be. What the heck are we going to do? Legit concerns. But Wednesday is when it all goes down. And the draft you have to look forward to as well. So I get where he is right now mentally, but I would ask him just to be a bit more patient and see how this thing unfolds in the next month.
Let's go to Joseph in Pennsylvania. Joseph, all these Seahawks moves make you feel what?
Excited. I called you guys last Friday, and I said something about getting a different quarterback and everything. But now they got to use some of that money, what they have, what Michael said. They got like $60 million or something like that underneath the cap, and they have to get some offense guards or something on that line to protect the quarterback and everything. And they got a really good young defense. And I'm just excited to see what happens, but they got to use, and in the draft, they have to pick up some wide receivers or tight ends because, the system, what they're going to be running is going to be like a running game. And they got to protect, the quarterback still. So, yeah, I feel excited about it.
Thanks for the call, Joseph. Joseph's excited, but he said they have stuff they need to do, starting with spending some of that cap that you saved on guards.
Yeah, I think I feel the way that Joseph does. Like, I'm excited for the moves that have been made, the big one being in Sam Darnold, letting DK go and whatnot, but I'm also anticipating the next move. And that's the hardest part about this time of the year and this situation is that it's not all going to happen in a day. And thankfully for us, it's not going to happen in a day because then we have material to talk about for the next few weeks or whatnot. But it's a slow game at this time of the year. And it's tough because you get all these notifications from other teams making moves and you're thinking, why aren't the Seahawks making any moves? Yeah, well, their strategy might be a bit different. Like the main team I look at is the Chicago Bears. I think, man, they made just every move that they needed to make because they had one spot to fill. They have receivers, they have a quarterback, they have a running back over there. Got to pick up some pieces on defense. Where in this situation, you got to wait for some other moves to be made before you make yours. So that's what keeps me, that makes me excited, is that there's something fresh, but I'm also anticipating the next move.
Let's go to Chris in Lakewood. Chris, all these Seahawks moves make you feel what?
Thanks for taking my call, guys. I feel like the rug's been pulled out from underneath me. Like, I've been lied to. They were pretty vocal about keeping Geno. I have a little bit of a conspiracy theory about it. I agree with Mina Kimes that maybe they were never 100% on Geno, but they needed an out. And they maybe hinted to DK he wasn't going to get a contract, knowing that it would initiate a trade request. And then, boom, now you have every reason to move on from Geno. Man, this is a hard reset. I don't see it any other way. We got rid of a quarterback. We got rid of 2 wide receivers. And we got a whole bunch of draft capital. And for me not to look at this as a hard reset, I'm hard pressed. So, yeah, I feel like that's what it is, man. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, Chris. I was writing down in our notes for the week, what does a rebuild look like? To Chris's point, like, what does a reset look like? And I don't think John Schneider would ever call it that. But I'm kind of with Chris in that when I saw the moves, I thought, are they rebuilding? Is that what this is? It's so hard not to see it that way when I'm sure for Chris, in a way for me, that's what it looks like. Like if any other team were to do this and I knew nothing about their GM and nothing about their history, and you told me they traded away their starting quarterback, traded away their top receiver, released another receiver, I'd be like, oh, they're rebuilding.
What do you call what the Pittsburgh Steelers did last year?
Surprising themselves.
I think because they had a solid defense over there, they were moving some pieces around on offense, trying to figure out what the next move is. I don't think they would consider that a reset or rebuild. That's kind of the way I look at this situation. You needed to find a quarterback, and you can go with conspiracy theories like our guy just had. Man, I think that the Hawks offered $40 million to Geno, and Geno thought, you know what? I really like Pete Carroll. I'm not even going to counter. I'm just going to go over there. So to me, a reset or rebuild, it's something that you intentionally do. I think they wanted to keep Geno. I think they wanted to keep DK. And I look at the other side of the football, and I see so much talent over there to where there's no way you're walking into this situation on defense and thinking, all right, man, let's reset. Let's do this thing. No, I think that one side of the football was forced to make some moves. And because they were forced to make the moves, I can see where people are looking at it and thinking it resembles that.
Yeah.
When me, it's all about intention. And I don't think their intention was to let these guys walk.
Let's go to Dell in Jacksonville. Dell, all these Seahawks moves are having you feeling what?
I'm excited because I think I feel like the first year Geno was starting as comeback player of the year. So I felt Sam Darnold has an equal chance of being, well, even though it's not really a comeback player of the year, but like that. And then we got 3 years to discover whether or not he's our QB for the decade, which is nice. What I'd like for them to do now is to at least get one blue chip / red chip, I guess purple chip, offensive lineman and a wide receiver like maybe Elijah Moore or Rondale Moore, and then increase the productivity that we lost from DK by increasing our tight end room catches and our running attack.
Thanks, Dell. What do you make of Dell's call?
Yeah, I think it's on point. I think you have to. Now, only part I might not agree with is focusing on Rondale and Elijah, because I would prefer a bigger receiver on the outside, someone who poses a different threat. I wouldn't be mad if they came over here, but there are some other names out there that I would kind of lock in on.
Yeah. Let's go to Chris in Seattle. Chris, all these Seahawks moves make you feel what?
Hey, guys. I felt a lot of deliriousness, a lot of delirium going on. Like, we started off with getting Clint Kubiak. I was actually really happy. He was my top choice, really believe in the system, his father and all that. So I felt like we were on the right track. And then these big moves, I like the fact that we were taking the chance of starting over again, especially on the offense. I really am looking at it as rebuilding or retooling the offense and building upon the success of the defense. But seeing all these teams, albeit it's not the NFC West that are signing teams right now, which is good, but like all these teams that are getting all the interior offensive linemen that we are targeting, it's really disheartening. It reminds me back in the day when Chris Dielman, San Diego Chargers offensive lineman, came here and he said, Seattle's not for me. I wonder, because we lost all the capital from Geno, from DK, I wonder if that's why a lot of these free agents are not believing in Seattle or believing in the front office. But I'm always John Schneider I trust. But he has to make a move this offseason. This is a big offseason, so I had like a lot of delirium of joy, delirium of confusion, delirium of madness. Just all of the above. But again, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. You guys always make my day, go by fast by listening. So thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. That was a really interesting point.
Yeah.
About what do Seattle's moves say to free agents? I like that.
Yeah, that's interesting, because that free agents are going to talk to their agents, and their agents are going to talk to their agent friends, and there's a narrative or a reason for things that start to brew and develop. And what's real or what's not, we don't know. We don't even know what's being said. But I think that's a point that we haven't heard yet, is that, people talk, and maybe Seattle is perceived in a different way. But me personally, if I were a player and I'm watching what's going down here, I don't think I'm looking at this situation saying, what the heck's going on? I think I'm looking at the situation and saying, Geno's getting up there. DK might not have had a great relationship with the guys over here. There's enough out there at the receiver position to help JSN, but they have to do something with the O-line. That was the biggest part. Seeing all these names fly off the free agent market, that's concerning.
Let's go to Noah and Cali. Noah, all these Seahawks moves make you feel what?
I feel more excited than I've been in years. We've had a solid team for a while, but unless you're winning the Super Bowl every year, any other kind of repetition just makes me restless. So even if it's just us being decent every year, so I'm all for a change, even if it doesn't pan out, because the potential, this boom or bust potential, because of the boom, it's far more exciting to me than gearing up for another 9 to 10 win season.
Noah said, "We're going to a new restaurant. I haven't seen the menu. It could be awful, or I could finally have something different." He's been having the same restaurant food for 10 years. And it's been fine. It's gotten him by. Sometimes, there are good nights where you're like, this hits the spot, but it's never fully satisfying. So maybe he finds a new place he likes, or maybe there's a fly in his soup. I don't know. We'll see what the season
He wants a drunk food night where it's just hitting. It's hitting.
Let's go to Trev, the UPS driver. Trev, all these Seahawks moves make you feel what?
Man, it's kind of exciting. Unlike my route every day. Man, it's going to be something different. Just like Mike McDonald. Last year when we got rid of Pete, it was kind of like, we got to make some move because it's been the same for the last however, And then we got Mike. He switched it quick. And, Geno, it was time to probably move on. We're probably going to go 10-7. And I'll tell you what, we might go 10-7 with Sam Darnold, but he's younger and he was cheaper. And, that already is better. And it's going to be different receivers. So, how can we be worse than 10-7, guys? Can you see it happening? I just can't see it, like Ray Charles.
No, Trev, no. Thanks for the call, Trev. I can see a world where they're worse than 10-7, but it would only be because they do not establish the run. If they cannot replace production from DK or the threat of DK, JSN cannot be as productive. If they cannot get the run game going, it is too much to ask Sam Darnold to throw 45, 50 times.
Yeah, he threw about 40-plus times, 4 times last year. He won 3 of those games. The most recent one was against the Lions where obviously it didn't end well for him. But, no, you're not bringing him over to do that. You're bringing him over to run the offense. I don't even want to call it a game manager because you're going to have to make some throws, but just run the dang offense.
Yeah. There is a world, though, where they're better. It's just it involves John Schneider hitting on some of these picks and free agent signings. We keep saying draft picks, but you're right. Don't count on rookies to make you a playoff team. You need to take a creative approach. All right, we'll wrap up with Al on Whidbey Island. Al, all these Seahawks moves make you feel what?
Nervous. I believe that we need to build the lines. If we don't come out of this draft and some free agency with 2 butt-kicking guards and someone who has some attitude that wants to put people in their place, then we're going to be the same old, same old. I'm not sure Darnold's the answer, but he's 55 for a couple of years. We'll see what he's made of. He hadn't really proven himself other than last year. We'll see where that goes. Like I said, got to improve the run game. We need another wide receiver. They talk about Cup coming over. I don't know what he's not that speedster that we need to open things up for JSN, but we need attitude in the middle.
Thanks, Al. What do you think about attitude in the middle?
Love it. Center, guards, go get them.
Sassy guards. That's
Sassy
what I want to see here in Seattle. Let's get to What's On Tonight.
What's On Tonight with Bump and Stacy. Brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's What's On Tonight.
The Cactus League Report airs tonight at 7 p.m. on Seattle Sports. Tonight's guests include Victor Robles and Colin Snyder. Hype Train coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Why I like the Sam Darnold deal, and why the more we talked to it this morning on the show, it just made more and more sense to me, and why everybody, I think, in the league kind of felt like, yep, this made a lot of sense for John Schneider and the Seahawks.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
A deal that's similar to Geno's 3 years ago, similar to Baker Mayfield's, gives this team plenty of still cap room and opportunity, both in this draft and throughout the rest of the offseason. I think it's a win-win all the way around.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Music that moves your soul. Live at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, April 24th. Get tickets before they sell out at muckleshootcasino.com.
Over the past decade, Washington state politicians have doubled state spending with no improvements to the issues we care about. Instead, we now have the third highest cost of living in the nation and a $12 billion deficit. It's time to tell legislators we need better results, not bigger taxes. Act now at affordablewashington.org. Paid for by people for an affordable Washington and Olympia, Washington. Top 5 donors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Alaska Air.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast, local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Pay no interest for 2 full years. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a free estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. I'm here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. When you're dealing with business owners and the idea that they owe money to the IRS and they feel like they might be letting their staff down, and it just spirals out of control.
One thing I see with businesses, it's really tough because they have employees and maybe they're having a difficult time with the cash flow of the business. Then unfortunately, what a business often does is they quit making their payroll tax deposits, which is really about the worst thing you could be doing. I mean, it's a telltale sign if you're doing that. Hey, get someone that can help you kind of look at your business and see if things can be changed so that you can operate your business better and make those payroll tax deposits. Because let me tell you this, the IRS is on those right away.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, you have to call Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. From stress to success with IRS Solutions. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution.
Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Well, with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. Xfinity built a network that's 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile has Wi-Fi Power Boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. Get the same reliable network in the places you need the most. The coffee shop, the grocery store, or the game. All to power more of what you love, whether you're a gamer, streaming, or work from home. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity Internet and Mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and 1 unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Plus, ask how to get a free premium 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G, Internet plus 1 unlimited welcome line, and AT&T Internet 300 plus 1 unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just 1 day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed 1-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at proscope.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's proscope.com.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets elegance. This summer, experience breathtaking Cascade views and world-class dining. Elevate your next getaway by combining effortless style with the utmost relaxation. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
What I need to know coming your way in 15. Get your questions in to the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. You got 15 minutes, but you can send them in anytime. Right now, let's head to the station for Hype Train. First one, Daniel Jones, formerly of the Minnesota Vikings and formerly of the New York Football Giants, is now of the Indianapolis Colts. It's an open competition between him and incumbent starter Anthony Richardson, but it's Danny Dimes as Indy's Week 1 starter. That's your first Hype Train. Are you boarding?
Man, he's been in this league. He's had some games. He's made some plays. Experience at safety, disrespectful. Listen, I don't think he's a Week 1 starter, but I think that he's a starter for a few weeks eventually, sometime in the season.
Fair.
Whether that be from Anthony Richardson not playing well or him not being able to stay healthy because he has been banged up a few times. Not the Week 1 starter, but we're going to hear a lot of chatter. He's going to play decent during the preseason, and then we'll see him eventually.
Daniel Jones will be the Colts' Week 1 starter. Bump not boarding, though says we will see him start a couple. Curtis, are you boarding?
I'm not boarding either. I think they still want to see that Anthony Richardson investment pay off, but it's not a horrible safety net to have in place in case things don't work out. But I don't see Daniel Jones taking Week 1 snaps for the Colts, so I'll let this train go by.
Yeah, I'm going to let it go by as well. It's not like the Colts are in the middle of Super Bowl contention. They can still afford a lot of learning curves when it comes to Anthony Richardson. I feel like what this isn't just trying to give them really good insurance. Hey, we have a former starter as our backup. We feel pretty good about it. It's also kind of letting Anthony Richardson look, I know you're a number 4 overall pick. I know that we kind of are making you the face of our franchise, but there are consequences to not trying. There are consequences to not continuing to work. It's almost like you kind of add competition to the room as a way to spur your...
Slap him on the wrist.
A little bit. All right, next up. Will Fries signs with the Minnesota Vikings. He was one of the best remaining available guards in free agency. Not coming to Seattle, though, but this is your next Hype Train. The Seahawks will spend big on a guard.
There's only one guard out there that you're going to spend big on. Everyone else, it's about $4 million, $3 million, $2 million projected. I don't think they're going to do it because I don't think John Schneider values the position like that. I think he's going to try to get one of these cheaper guys and then go to the draft and get somebody young and go that route. I would love for them to do it, but I'm just going off of history. I don't think he's going to do it.
Seahawks spend big on a guard. Bump not boarding. No one boarding a train yet. Curtis, are you going to board this one?
I'm right there with Bump. We're just waiting in the terminal, and I'm not boarding this train. Yeah. We're looking at the monitors of all the departure locations. Not getting on that one.
Delay.
Yeah, not getting on that one. It's just how John Schneider does business. He will not spend big on a guard. So letting this one go by.
Yeah, I'm looking at these trains like I'm looking at food at a buffet. You do a round first. You look and see what your options are before you actually start plating anything. Because then you get to the end, there's 5 things you want, but you don't have room on your plate. So I'm also not boarding this train. We're just watching them all go by. What's next? DK Metcalf and Geno Smith now with new teams combined for at least 1 Pro Bowl nod in 2025.
Man, I don't think it'll be from Geno. It'll be from DK because of we'll see if Aaron Rodgers is the guy over there. If Aaron Rodgers does not go to the Steelers, you would assume that Russell Wilson is going to be the guy over there. They have a connection. I think yes. One Pro Bowl nod is going to be DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf and Geno Smith combined for at least one Pro Bowl nod. Bump is boarding. Curtis, or you?
Yeah, Geno. Look at the AFC quarterbacks. You're going to tell me that Geno Smith is going to be one of the top 3 AFC quarterbacks next year with Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen,
Tyler
Patrick
Huntley
Mahomes.
with the Ravens. See, what happens is those guys are going to be in the playoffs. No, listen, those guys are going to be in the playoffs. You need to take like 5 AFC quarterbacks off the table because they're just going to be dominant teams. And you need to look at like who's going to be the 6th alternate AFC quarterback.
Even then, I still don't think Geno is a Pro
Jones.
Bowler.
It's going to be Daniel Jones.
I'll board this train, though. I think DK's got a shot. Just running go route after go route after go route. He'll get over 1,000 yards. He'll get close to 10 touchdowns, which are some respectable Pro Bowl numbers for sure. So, yes, I think they combine for at least one Pro Bowl nod.
I'm gonna board as well. All aboard! All aboard! I think DK Metcalf, like you guys, is the recipient of that Pro Bowl. I always thought like, the Steelers' identity to me is always so old school, but it's not. Like they really do like to air it out at times. Najee Harris moves on. Ideally, they improve pass pro for this season. The biggest question is going to be who their quarterback is and whether that guy still has it in him, since it's between Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. But no reason that for this massive investment you just made, you don't make every single use out of them. Next up, speaking of the Steelers, it's not Rodgers. Russell Wilson is a Steeler in 2025. Wouldn't it be fun?
It would be fun. You get to link up with the homie. I don't even know if they homies, but the acquaintances over there with him and DK Metcalf. That means that Aaron Rodgers is going to New York. The thing about New York is there's not enough over there for Aaron to feel like he's going to be able to compete. He's going to be in the NFC West with the Dallas Cowboys, Philly, and the Commanders. We're looking at Philly and the Commanders to really be the guys competing for the division. There's not enough in New York. So why is Aaron Rodgers taking so long to make this decision? It baffles me. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh.
Russell Wilson is a Steeler in 2025. Bump not boarding. He thinks it's going to be Rodgers. Curtis, are you boarding? Reunion, Russell and DK. Russell already knows the
You'd love
team.
to see it. It'd be fun, but I think Russ's relationship with Arthur Smith kind of reached a breaking point during that season. Russ was not allowed to audible to certain plays and was trying to do it anyway. I think Russ's time in Pittsburgh is over, even though I think DK would want Russ to throw to him. I know they work out all the time in the offseason, so there's still a relationship there between the two, but I don't see Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh in 2025. I mean, if it's not Pittsburgh, it's got to be the Giants, right? Like, there's nowhere else that he could go because the Jets just signed Justin Fields. Even then, I don't know if the Giants are like super gung-ho about adding him, especially when they could just draft another quarterback, and they've got Tommy DeVito there.
Is this the end of the road for Russell Wilson?
It could be.
As a starter? You know what? New hype train. Russell Wilson will not be a starter in 2025.
I'm boarding that train.
Yeah, I'll board that one.
Yeah.
I think I am too.
Yeah.
I think I am.
Wow.
Next and last hype train.
Gosh darn it.
Tiger Woods. This is actually a bummer. This is bad news. Tore his Achilles and will not be participating in the Masters. Despite that, this is your hype train. Bump will still be watching every second of the Masters.
Every second I can. It's going to hurt. Go ahead and throw Charlie Woods out there. No Tiger, throw Charlie out there.
Charlie Woods.
You know?
It has to go to the eldest son immediately.
He'll get smacked.
The next in line to the throne. Despite Tiger's injury, Bump will still watch the Masters. He's heated right now.
Oh, I know.
Like, he's really
so
upset.
mad. I knew when I put that it would throw him off the rest of the day, but I'm boarding this train.
You ruined the show.
Can't even concentrate.
No, you didn't. It made the show better.
Find no more joy in today. It's
Bump's a
over.
sicko. He's absolutely going to watch. It's going to be those kinds of tournaments. It's like Bump and Kyle and Saul. They put it on like every monitor in the building. It's like, we get it.
And they just
golf,
walk around and tell each other, like, did you see the 4 off that tee off the Y Hill and Cherry
dog
Park?
leg.
It's a dog wag. Yeah, he did a little tee fiddle with
Amen
it.
corner.
Yeah, with his
Amen corner.
with his 12 iron.
You know.
That's right.
Gosh darn it.
Yeah.
That sucks.
He really ripped it off the sledgeway.
Oh, man.
The sledgeway.
You just make up
Should've
golf terms.
split some trees right there.
He really split the trees.
Yeah.
He really knocked that tree sideways.
He did.
That's what he did. Hit a goose right out of the sky.
Yeah, you want to kind of lay up over there, right?
Yeah.
And then hope the gravity does the rest of the work.
Yeah, he really cherry-picked that. Like, I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'm going to say ripped the tee off the sledgeway. And I'm just kidding.
Ripped the tee off the sledgeway. That, you know what was crazy is that it feels right.
That's what I'm saying.
It feels right.
Man, he ripped the tee off that sledgeway. Crazy. Obviously, I'm boarding this train. All aboard! Sad train as it leaves the station, but with all of us aboard. Friends forever. What I need to know is coming your way next. Get your questions into the Mac and Jack's text line 866-979-3776.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
It's happened. Geno has been traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick in the upcoming 2025 draft, on his way to Vegas to be reunited with his former head coach, Pete Carroll.
Wow. I did not see this coming.
No.
And
you're shocked.
I am. I just thought that this was a given.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. What dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? Yeah, obviously, it's still Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who is the only Ford dealer in all of Washington to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? You're getting good at this. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They offer a free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all their new Fords. How about this one? Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit back to you? Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. In fact, they've given back over $750,000 to customers who have sold them their cars. And finally, what dealership has been family-owned and operated in Auburn for 103 years? You guessed it, Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your boat, boat wins.
What are you going to do? Take the boat out for a spin or go mail something? Boat wins! Are we cleaning the patio or taking the boat out fishing? Boat wins! Are we skipping that eye exam to go sailing? Boat wins!
Rescheduling eye exams can be a nightmare.
All right, fine. Eye exam, then boat.
Yeah!
With Progressive, you can bundle your boat with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings on your boat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business business hours. The noon hour of the Bump and Stacy Show is powered every day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com.
You think your home is pretty cool until that summer heat hits, and suddenly your home isn't that cool. In fact, it's hot. Air conditioning from Washington Energy Services can help. Stay cool this summer with our biggest spring savings event ever. This month only, take up to $4,000 off an energy-efficient Bryant cooling system with exclusive Washington Energy rebates. Ensure your home is always the cool house with air conditioning from Washington Energy Services. Contact us today for a free estimate.
I just had Asset Roofing come out and do a full inspection on my roof because I wanted to be proactive and handle any small problems before they became big problems, and they were extremely professional with their communication and recommendations. You really need an expert on your side, and Asset Roofing is on mine. Allow them to work for you, too. You can find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Getting engaged? At Shane Company, we'll help you find the perfect diamond. This is your engagement ring, aka only your life's most important piece of jewelry. No need to worry. As gemstone experts since 1929, we handpick only the most beautiful natural and lab-grown diamonds cut to our high standards in every price range. We have diamonds in all shapes and sizes, ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Come see for yourself at shaneco.com or at your local store. No appointment necessary. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets elegance. It's Mike Salk here, and this summer you can experience breathtaking Cascade views, world-class dining, and of course the best entertainment. Elevate your next getaway by combining effortless style with the utmost in relaxation. The hotel opens this summer with deluxe king and 2 queen rooms, premiums, grand suites, signature suites, and the breathtaking views of the Cascades and the Snoqualmie Valley. For more details, go to snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's what I need to know. Get your questions into the Mac and Jacks text line 866-979-3776. Any question works. Bump. First question. Would you rather play a game as fullback for the Seahawks or catcher for the Mariners? You have to choose one. Both would be brutal.
My current size, I'd have to go catcher because fullback, I don't have enough junk in the trunk to be trying to run through 250-pounders.
You know the quad strength you need to be a catcher. I couldn't do it.
No, my knees would be done after like two innings.
I'd have to sit crisscross applesauce, and the strike zone is just going to have to be an inch above the ground.
Exactly, it'd be so low.
Yeah.
You would, your pitcher would just throw balls all day.
I'd be turning the ump. Did you see that? Did you see how fast that was? No, I would be dead. What I need to know: Russell Wilson to Minnesota as a veteran stopgap and maybe a mentor for J.J. McCarthy.
I can see it. That's going to be his position now. Backup.
Yep.
Clipboard.
I love this one. What I need to know. Have you ever said goodbye to someone only to then realize they're walking the same direction you are?
Oh, yeah. Too many times.
I still remember to this day. And I don't know why. Like, you have random memories, not like sentimental or important ones, but just random memories where you're like, why do I remember this? Why is this in my brain? But it's this one. It's, I was working in South Center Mall. It was my first job. I was like second job out of college. And there was a store closer, and me and the store closer, I had like recently started, so I'm still trying to get to know people, but I don't know them well enough to talk to them. It's like 11 p.m. The mall's shut down. Okay, bye, see ya. And then I realized he's walking the same way, and I was like, I already said bye. So I walked all the way around the perimeter of the mall and then walked out the front door. When I tell you I added 15 minutes to my walk for no reason.
You hated the awkwardness.
I just couldn't be, I'm going this way too. So how long have you worked here? Like just being nice. Nope, couldn't do it.
It happens to me when the most recent time when I travel, you land at the end gates where you have to hop on the train and you strike up a conversation with someone like, all right, see ya, and then we're both walking the baggage claim.
Now we have to keep talking, and I don't want that. Now I got to pretend to answer my phone, or like, oh, hang on, I got an important text message. Then you just go through everything on your phone.
Yep.
What I need to know. I still see people thinking we're going to draft a quarterback, but should we, or should we wait till next year, or play it by ear and see how Sam does?
I think there's no rush anymore. You can draft one late if there's just a guy that you want to bring to camp. See if Howard is on the team. They can go at it. You can still get one laid, but there's no rush.
What I need to know, how concerned are y'all with George Kirby's shoulder situation? Should I be scared? Will his arm fall off?
Inflammation happens all the time. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine.
What I need to know, who's the best golfer at Seattle sports?
Oh, it's your boy.
Okay.
It's your boy.
Accept that answer. What I need to know, who at the station is least likely to babysit a child?
Matt Nelson.
That's a great answer.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
It's between you and Bob.
Yeah, I think.
Bob's a germaphobe.
Boy,
he
that's a
doesn't
good
want
point.
anything to
yeah.
do. Imagine
Children
a
are very
germaphobe
sticky.
around babies.
Yeah.
Like that's cute, but he wouldn't want to touch it, I don't think.
Matt would just look at the baby cry and be like, why are you crying?
Can you not do that in my general ear space?
Matt
I
would just-
can't deal with that, man.
You just want to watch Doctor Who or something?
That is exactly what I would rather be doing.
Yeah.
Little babies, they watch Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Hey now.
What I need to know, do you think Geno was out of Seattle the moment Pete became head coach of the Raiders?
I think he went to sleep and imagined himself in the black and silver. And then showed up to negotiations, didn't like a vibe, and was like, you know whose vibe I like? That guy in Las Vegas.
What I need to know, if the Seahawks were to sign Cooper Kupp, would we basically just have another JSN?
No. Cooper Kupp, people sleep on him. He's like 6'3". He's not small. And I think you still need another receiver to kind of stretch the field, but their route running is different. Their game is different. It would not be the same as JSN.
What I need to know, I got a couple good ones to choose from. Would you rather have as your starter then Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson? Pretend you're the Steelers. Who are you taking if you're the Steelers?
Unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers.
I would take Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers has much left at all, and I think Russell Wilson, at the very least, still has some. You had
Who do you think
moments.
had better stats last year?
Russ played fewer games.
Russ had them at 10-3 at one point.
I'm gonna say Russ.
Russ had
In fewer
2,400, 16-5 in 11 games.
Okay.
Your boy, Mr.
Rodgers, Ron.
He had 3,800, 28-11 in 17 games. So Russ wasn't too far behind, I guess.
No, after missing the first 6 games?
Mm-hmm.
Five, 6?
Yep.
What's the best Girl Scout cookie?
The peanut butter one.
Yeah, tagalongs. Matt, why are you shaking your head? That's
Thin
the
Mints.
best.
Frozen Thin Mints by a
They're
mile.
obviously all amazing, except for the dumb shortbread ones that no one even knows the name of because they don't matter.
Agreed.
I guarantee you, those are the last ones to sell.
You're seriously telling me, though, if Frozen Thin Mint doesn't win out, it's the best.
It's kind of like, who would you rather have? And then it's 2 amazing things.
I think the shortbread
My
runs
opinion
were
could
the
change tomorrow.
original. Like, that was what the whole thing was based off.
The shortbread ones?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's dumb. It's like Necco wafers used to be our peak version of candy, but we've evolved as people. We have Reese's Cups and Twix bars.
We've got Adventurefuls
Yeah.
now.
Adventurefuls.
It's a brownie cookie with a caramel cream
Like,
on it.
no one loves licorice right now, but licorice was popping in like 1920.
My kids love licorice.
You know what I'm saying, though? It's
Two
like
different
it's just,
lemon ones, lemonades and lemon ups. That's too much lemon
that's
cookie.
very similar. Trefoils, someone says, and they're delicious. Okay, well,
Apparently, they have a French toast flavored one now.
I'm interested.
Yeah, beg pardon.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. What I need to know. There's a plate of hot food cooling off in the kitchen window. Would you rather it be chocolate chip cookies or Totino's pizza rolls?
Totino's. Going Totino's.
Pizza rolls.
Yeah.
Curtis?
I think I might go chocolate chip cookies.
Pretty solid. Someone said, could Pete bring Russ on as a backup to Geno?
Russell shows up. This is awkward.
Can you imagine?
This is awkward.
I saw Bob Condota tweet a version of how weird is it to see a free agent class where Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones come off the board, Sam Darnold to like a pretty solid contract, and we're still waiting to see where Russell Wilson signs.
Yeah,
like just how, and of course, like context is everything, but it was a funny tweet about like, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Very weird. Let's see what I need to know. It's just everyone telling me the shortbread ones are good. The entire text line is just people. Let's see what I need to know. Are you guys outdoorsy? And what are the best hiking spots in Washington that aren't Mount Rainier?
I am not outdoorsy.
No.
I know.
Unless
This is a very indoorsy show.
Yeah, this
I'm
is a-
golfing.
Yeah.
As outdoorsy as it gets for me.
Yeah, I go on walks sometimes. I don't know why I said that. I like walk from my car to places. That's going outside. Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Your two most prominent players on offense said, I want out of here.
If you asked the texters, they would say both of them have attitude problems.
You know, we'll see what Geno signs for. If he signs for somewhere in around 40 to 45, what does that say about how he felt about Seattle?
You got to put a lot of faith in John Schneider and Mike McDonald. John said, we're not going to do anything that hurts the team. The team is number one, the player is number two.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com/radio and use code radio for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/radio and use code radio at checkout.
When it comes to great deals on tax prep, Jackson Hewitt isn't holding back, and neither is this commercial. Their offer is so big, it has to be said with Reverb. Expert tax prep for $149 or less. It's a deal so spectacular, it needs a symphony, some explosions, and a clock ticking, because this offer, $149 or less. And soon, one expert tax prep for $149 or less. Try Jackson Hewitt today and save. Whew. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Are you looking at diversification and stability with your investment portfolio, especially with the volatility right now in the stock market? Hi, I'm Scott Rirucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years. We've had 0 investor losses and have averaged double-digit returns since inception. Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given market conditions. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Legacy's Northwest Fund also accepts IRA accounts as well. Find out why over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Get in touch with us today. Legacy's Northwest Fund returning 9% has limited opening for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com.
This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacg.com.
Do you want to lose weight fast and keep it off? I'm Dr. Ryan Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, and I have a plan that has helped over 4,000 people in the Seattle-Tacoma area lose up to a pound per day. No surgery, no exercise, no box package food, and no drugs or injections with potential side effects. We have a team of health coaches that can support you every step of the way. Schedule your free 15-minute, no-pressure phone consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com and also see our incredible before and after transformations.
Well, and I'm one of those 4,000 people. I'm incredibly proud of my transformation. It started with just a 15-minute phone call where I learned how easy the program was and decided that it was right for me. I encourage you to make that phone call for yourself. It's only 15 minutes, and it can have a lasting impact.
Let our proven system help you lose 20 to 30 pounds or more in just 60 days. You can start our program in person at our Kirkland office or virtually from anywhere you live. Schedule your free phone consultation online